over countries across 5 continents. We have been in touch with allies and partners on this issue.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre also says keeping Americans safe is something President Biden takes very seriously amid ongoing questions about his handling of last week's balloon incident.
Whoop, whoop.
What's up? We're about to give you the state of this union. This union.
Oh.
This room's
Weird. We're in a
friendship union.
All right. Talking about the real state of the union, our YouTube poll is asking what grade would you give the president's speech? An A, a B, or a C, or an F? Or did you not watch it at all so you can't grade it? 12:25 today, we are doing something cray-cray, and we're opening up the phone lines, which is my favorite thing as a producer.
If you've ever wanted to call and talk to Hannah.
We're going to get your reactions to the State of the Union. So we're going to open up our phone lines at 12:25. So get your phones ready for that. At 1:25, we have a guest. You want to talk about our guest?
Yeah. It is Tomi Lahren. Am I pronouncing it right? Lahren? Lahren?
That's why I tossed it to you, because I didn't think I'd say it right.
Well, that's one of those that I think people, it's like Feinstein and Feinstein. I can never remember if it's Diane Feinstein. Frankenstein.
Okay.
I'm not comparing Tomi Lahren to Diane Feinstein, just for the record.
But you did.
But I did. Technically I did.
This is why we can't have like big names.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Embarrasses us.
So she is gonna be, is she on Outkick?
Yeah, she's got a podcast on Outkick called Tomi Lahren is Fearless, and it airs Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
There you go. So she'll be on
6 p.m. Central time for you guys.
Nice. So yep, she'll be with us at 1:25.
And between now and then, what did you think? Did you watch it? Did you care to watch it? Did you care once you started watching it? There's so many different angles you can approach that speech from.
Hey, and let's not forget Sarah Sanders' rebuttal.
That too, which was lit. It was one of the best rebuttals. We shouldn't even get into it too much yet, but that was
We have
really
a lot
good.
to discuss today about that.
Yeah, it was
a lot to unpack, a lot to react to. Should be a good show. I'm excited for it.
I wonder how much the average American is paying attention to that too anymore, with the way primetime TV is.
The State of the Union, or
the State of the Union?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was.
Just that.
Reacting to that.
Yeah. So there you go.
Here's a question for the pre-show. You guys see how my hair becomes blonde, like right here?
Right about at your shirt collar.
No.
It's way below her shirt.
Is it?
Can you not see the difference?
Yeah,
it's
I can
right
see it.
there.
It's like
Oh, way down there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think
haven't
it's even
colored
a
my
little
hair in this
above that.
long. This is all the way up is natural. This is just what's left of when I colored it. I'm thinking about cutting it off so that it's all natural hair color. Should I do that? I'm not so vain as to think that I should do a YouTube poll on it, but if that is the poll one day, that means I couldn't come up with anything else. So,
what do you think, Hannah?
I have a thought. Annie's hair grows incredibly fast.
Do you think so?
Yes, it does.
Like my fingernails.
Oh.
Thanks,
Your hair.
Brian.
You got your hair cut a couple
Excellent.
months ago.
Yeah.
And it's already just as long.
I mean, it's not like I'm not talking about cutting it like super short or committing to not having longer hair, but
I think you should get a pixie cut.
I think you should not get a pixie cut. I think you should.
Man, if looks could kill, I'd
you
have
should
been
get
dead through that screen.
You think I should get a pixie cut?
That's not what I said.
I didn't hear what you said.
That's why I said it like that. No, I don't know. You should tell me. Should I get it cut? Whenever we start talking about that on the air, that means we are out of content. Do you think I should cut it, Ryan? I don't ever notice it until the camera. And right here, it is very obvious.
I also don't ever notice it. But when I'm looking at it in the camera, though, there are parts like back here
That's
right
because
now.
my hair is pulled up.
Oh, okay. Well, I was like,
Annie
part of
just
that
has
looks.
a huge knot in the back of her head.
What do you think about this? Should I brush my hair or should I just leave this knotted up mess in the back of my
Yeah,
hair?
do a beehive.
No, this is the bottom of my hair.
So
This is the natural color.
I think
very
the colored
gray.
color and the natural color go together well.
It's kind of like an ombre, but not on purpose.
But if you want to cut it, if you've been thinking about it, that's a great reason to do it. And
I've been making a lot of changes these days, and it might be the next one. But
Okay.
we do have to go on the air now.
Okay.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Inflation has been a global problem because the pandemic disrupted our supply chains, and Putin's unfair and brutal war in Ukraine disrupted energy supplies as well as food supplies, blocking all that grain in Ukraine. But we're better positioned than any country on earth right now. But we have more to do. But here at home, inflation is coming down. Here at home, gas prices are down $1.50 from their peak. Food inflation is coming down, not fast enough, but coming down. Inflation has fallen every month for the last 6 months, while take-home pay has gone up.
Inflation is down, gas prices are down, your grocery bill is down. Good job, President Biden. I'm so happy that you're happy. Did you watch the State of the Union last night? That's one of the questions today that we're going to be asking you. And as I promised, if you watched us watch this live, little Mystery Science Theater-esque, last night on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, we live streamed the speech, and Brad and I, and eventually Ryan joined us, and we just kind of gave our honest reactions in the midst of it. And as you generally hear, misery loves company. It was great to spend it with so many people, had a great conversation. I couldn't even keep up with all the comments that were coming in. But the question that I have for you on today's YouTube live broadcast, the poll that we're going to assess throughout the show today, what grade would you give the president's speech? I'm limited to 4 options, so here are your choices. Did you give him an A? Did you give him a B/C, so a passing grade, but not an A? An F? Or you didn't watch it? I would love to know what you think about his speech last night, if you just chose not to watch it at all. And you can go vote on the YouTube channel for the show. Just type in Annie Frey, F-R-E-Y, on YouTube, and you'll see that we are live broadcasting right now. And in the live chat section, you can vote. As we were watching the speech, it was clear that he was energized in a way that he generally isn't for incredibly shorter press briefings or question answering. Brad, I think it was important that he was able to go up there and articulate in a Joe Biden way, nonetheless. He didn't. He was not free of flubs, of stumbling over words, but it could have been incredibly worse. And I just want to say on the offset of this that if you were wanting, like Brad, when you imagine in your head how bad it could go.
Yeah.
After the week we had last week, with the Chinese taking advantage of our country and our territory, if there is a part of you that laments that he had a mostly coherent speech, the substance of it we will get into.
Mm-hmm.
But his ability to stand there and deliver with a little bit more energy, I would honestly say, in my opinion, a lot more energy than I thought he was capable of, is a good thing for the American existence in this moment in time when the world is looking at us going, what's going on over there?
Yeah. Bringing up the context of the balloon and the spy balloon and all that other stuff and our position on the world stage, it's very important to have our leader not look like a senile old man bumbling through a speech for an hour and a half or whatever it ended up being.
He looks like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And he didn't look like that last night.
Yeah.
And he was, for the most part, coherent. He had full thoughts, finished his sentences, and he was on message.
So I really feel like the YouTube poll for today is like grading on a curve. Because what you just, correct me if I'm wrong, I guess, commended the president for should not have to be part of the assessment.
Right.
But it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would say, too, because this is how we talk in this day and age. Got it. Well, what about Trump? How does Trump figure into this? Donald Trump's delivery, I spoke about this earlier this week. Donald Trump's delivery at the State of the Union was different than his delivery elsewhere. He is much more bombastic. I love that clip, that video clip of Donald Trump walking up to the press that's under the helicopter. And he like points at him and he's like, all right, let's go. And he's got a smile on his face. He's combative with him. I don't know that he particularly loves those people, but he loves the opportunity to go, mano a mano with a press that despises him. Joe Biden does not face that. He's not challenged in that way. And honestly, the fact that he's not challenged in that way, he's really kind of permitted to have this low energy presence and a much smaller presence in front of the people who are there to advocate for you, to get to the bottom of the truth for you. He does not have that combative experience with the press, which actually, in my opinion, makes him weaker at it because he's not, you've got to strain the muscles in order to strengthen them. The speech that he gave last night, the biggest story, in my opinion, that could have come out of that speech would have been if he would have fumbled it and bumbled it and been low energy and mumbling and through the entire thing. And that didn't happen. And as much as, like I said, we will get to the substance of the speech, there were some whoppers that he told throughout that. His presentation did not project as much weakness as he usually does. And slow clap for the president for that. I'm acknowledging it.
Yeah.
I would not have enjoyed coming in here and highlighting all of the times when the story was, we're screwed, that we do not have strength. As Americans, I don't think that's the message that came out of it. However, when you do look at some of the things that the president said in his speech last night.
Have you noticed Big Oil just reported its profits, record profits? Last year they made $200 billion in the midst of a global energy crisis. I think it's outrageous. Why? They invested too little of that profit to increase domestic production. And when I talked to a couple of them, they say, we're afraid you're going to shut down all the oil wells, all the oil refineries anyway, so why should we invest in them? I said, we're going to need oil for at least another decade. And that's going to exceed and beyond that. We're going to need it.
Appropriate response. Brad, I'm hearing more people reporting that there is frustration of the Republicans' reaction than I'm actually hearing people frustrated with the reaction. Did you consume from last night when we signed off at like 10:30 till now? Are there people really questioning the behavior of the Republicans? Like strongly questioning it?
Like real people or the usual suspects?
Any of them.
Because I think that the usual suspects are out there questioning it, but I didn't see anything about the Republican Party and I haven't heard anything from people that says, man, the Republican Party was way out of hand and way out of line.
The appropriate response to saying we're probably going to need oil within the next decade is laughter.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's about as respectful as it can get. And if a Republican gets into office, this whole plan changes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important to remember when Donald Trump is in office, when Joe Biden is in office, when maybe Donald Trump is back in office, and then maybe Ron DeSantis is in office, or Sarah Huckabee Sanders. We're going to talk about that later. When you think about all these people changing hands, if Michelle Obama takes office, this is a huge pendulum swing. So when you think long term, it's important for us to be able to think long term, but it has to be rooted in reality. And I think that comment, the decade comment, was that off script? I heard that there were several different things that the president said last night that weren't in the script. And then when you compare what he said to what's down there, it's like, oop.
Yeah, I don't know for sure if that was what was off script or on script, but it does sound like one of those times where it would have been off script.
Yeah. Here's more from him on the deficit.
Under the previous administration, the American deficit went up 4 years in a row. Because those record deficits, no president added more to the national debt in any 4 years than my predecessor. Nearly 25% of the entire national debt that took over 200 years to accumulate was added by just one administration alone, the last one. They're the facts. Check it out.
He was so spicy at the beginning. That waned a little bit towards the end. But I can't really imagine a scenario where Donald Trump is like directing these comments and kind of picking fights. Basically, what you get to do when you're the president of the United States, you're invited by the speaker to come give the address. Because there were a lot of questions. I think it was with Donald Trump's final State of the Union as to whether or not Nancy was going to invite him to do it. You're invited. There's a whole process to it. But when you're the president, you get to make statements about awesome things that you just did. And really the way it's set up is that you kind of have to sit there and listen to it. And that's how you win. You're like, I'm the president. The period goes on the end of that sentence. That sentence speaks for itself. Biden got a little chippy last night. I was entertained by it. I was entertained by the Republicans' response. The ideas of ages gone by where people believe that this is a prim and proper and there's a decorum and everything. I think it's very likely that back in the day, it was always raucous. I assume.
Oh, for sure. Like,
didn't somebody get murdered on the floor in an argument or something like that?
I don't know I know somebody got murdered in Congress because Dan Crenshaw put a video out. I don't know if they got murdered or shot, but there's bloodstains on the steps in Congress.
Yeah.
From this reporter who was hounding this congressman, and the congressman shot him.
I just don't look at what the Republicans did last night and be like, this is shameful. I mean, to some extent, just kind of like I was saying, we're grading this president on a curve. We're like, coherent sentences, full thoughts, bad thoughts, but full thoughts.
Right.
B. We'll give him a B. B minus, because I'm a Republican.
It's a heck of a curve.
Yeah. But if you look at the entire political climate right now, for the Republicans to laugh at things that are laughable,
yeah.
It's not like Nancy Pelosi tore the speech in half after Donald Trump got done. Give me a break. I am not here for your pearl-clutching, nose-in-the-air elitism. Listen, we're all here together.
Mm-hmm.
A phrase that my mother hates. It is what it is. There were several other things that he touched on, and I have a ton of sound that I can play throughout the day. But I want to open the phone lines because I want to give you the opportunity. Of course, go to the YouTube channel. Everybody can vote there. Everybody can leave comments there. We're going to break a little bit early here, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to call 314-241-9797. You got that number right last night. Good job. 314-241-9797. You're going to get like 60 seconds to call in, give me your comment, give me your grade, and why you vote for the grade the way you do. And I'm going to turn it over to you. I don't do this very much. Normally we would schedule a guest in the 1225 segment, but I think you're important every day, but especially today to hear what you think about the State of the Union. So give us a call. Lines are filling up as we speak. Get in line and we will take those calls as soon as we come back. 314-241-9797. That's 314-241-9797. Call the Annie Frey Show. Grade the president's speech. We'll take all kinds when we come back. Don't go away.
All the cash underneath my mattress, got a real good feeling, something bad about to happen.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
When my money out the mattress, got a real good feeling, something bad about to happen.
Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, and his wife Tammy, all at the Retirement Advisory Group, waiting to help you breathe that sigh of relief about your retirement. Anxiety kind of starts to build up. You get a little bit closer to that 55, 60 years old, maybe 65, and you're thinking, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to afford the retirement that I have dreamt of? You've saved and you've sacrificed, and the time is near. You look around at the economy and you don't know what's going to happen next. Even when things are good, you still wonder, are they going to stay good? They can help you with the Retirement Advisory Group. You sit down at no charge to you, no obligation to you, and just have a conversation. And then you decide if you want to hire them to protect your retirement. Here's the number to call, 314-993-9494. Call 314-993-9494 for that no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. All of the information is online. You can work with the people who've been helping retirees and pre-retirees exactly like you retire with confidence for 36 years. RetirementKey.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Governor Mike Parson.
The media, Mark, it is literally just an agenda. Thank goodness you guys are out there that sure are trying to give honest information.
97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. And I tell you, I enjoy conversion. You know, it means if Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other Republicans say, I'm not saying it's a majority of you. I don't even think it's even a significant, but it's being proposed by individuals. I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you.
He's got to indicate, oh, by the way, I am being polite. That, again, I played the one where the Republicans laugh because he says, we're probably going to need oil for the next decade. Well, yeah, no sugar, Sherlock. Like, that's obviously going to be the case. When he goes out and says that is when he indicates that Republicans are looking to, how did he phrase it here?
Sunset.
sunset Social Security. The Republicans go crazy, and they should, because it is a lie. Anybody who is telling you that that's what Republicans are trying to do, they want to win an election based on your fear that they've sown. It is not the truth. And McCarthy said so ahead of time before the State of the Union. So here's your chance to call into the Annie Frey Show and give us the grade. How do you feel that the president did on his speech? If you go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, you can vote A, B, or C. An F, or you didn't watch it. Go vote there and give us a call. 314-241-9797. I would love to hear what you think about this. We're going to start with Bob in Ellisville. Bob, thank you for calling the show. What do you think about the speech?
Well, if you grade it on his technical ability, which is very low, you give it a C because, like you say, he didn't stumble or mumble or, get lost. But I got to tell you, last year when 2 years ago when Nancy Pelosi stood up, this is the third most powerful person in the country, supposedly the Speaker of the House, and made a big show of tearing up Trump's speech. That's game on. You can do anything you want. I'm surprised somebody didn't throw a shoe at him. He's such a lying bastard. I'm 70 years old. I've never, ever hated a politician. And I go back to Kennedy, Nixon, Reagan, Clinton. I've never hated a politician like I hate this guy. He's a friggin' clown.
We appreciate your call, Bob. He said he gives him a C. And, I think about the way that Joe Biden feels super comfortable saying some of these ridiculous things. It's like people can put input information to him and he's happy to regurgitate it. I think his most reflexive, natural state is being a politician, and the substance behind it. Those are just details. Let's go to Jason in Troy. Jason, thanks for calling the Annie Frey Show.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call again.
Of course. What grade would you give President Biden on his speech last night?
I thought he pushed it. I thought he did a great job, and I give him an A.
What about his speech last night? I think we've discussed this before. I think you're a supporter of the president going in.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a proud Missouri Democrat.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you listening to the show, and we're glad you called in. What did you like as a proud Missouri Democrat about what the president said last night?
I mean, holy cow, everything. He's going to push to do different things, and it's funny how he turned it on the Republicans the other night.
Those things that you say that he's going to push to do, which ones really stand out to you as, like, from the speech last night? Yeah, he really nailed this. This is the direction we need to take this country.
If you look before Joe Biden to Joe Biden, economic problems have dissipated, and we're getting back on track. And I like being on track.
So, okay. So, Jason, you feel like he articulated last night that the economy that we have right now is the Joe Biden economy, and you're happy with it?
Well, I'm not completely happy with it. I'd like to see some more benefits given to poor people instead of billionaires.
Okay. So you think that there's more progress to be made in the economy, but you think that the economy situation that we have right now, that is your experience. I have no idea what your income or your wealth experience is, and I don't think it matters. But your experience right now as a proud Missouri Democrat, economically speaking, is a good one.
Yes, I think we're leveling out. I think it's doing well.
Okay.
We're going to push forward.
Okay. Well, I am all for pushing forward. Jason, thank you for listening. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. We probably disagree on most things, but Jason seems like a nice guy. Let's go to Greg. Greg, thanks for calling the Annie Frey Show in St. Charles. What do you think?
Well, I gave him a D- because, like you said, he was able to at least not seem like he was wandering off the stage at times. However,
again, these standards are amazing. He stayed on the stage.
It's a low bar when you got to dig down to get to it.
Yeah.
But the thing is the thing about the debt, the deficit, and this is the thing they always do, and it's not just these guys. They always play on everybody's ignorance of the difference between debt and deficit.
Yes.
And I just wanted to make one real quick point here. I've been trying to say this for years. It won't take a minute. But back when Bill Clinton, a lot of people don't understand, there's two types of debt, intergovernmental and public. Intergovernmental is what the government owes itself for its programs, and public is what we owe China. And when Bill Clinton boasted of a surplus that the Republicans squandered, at that time, what they did was they took money from government programs, paid down the public debt, and called it a surplus, which is akin to me owing $15,000 in credit card debt, having $20,000 in my 401k, taking money out of my 401k, paying my credit cards off, and saying now I have a $5,000 surplus, when in fact I still got to pay back my 401k. So that's how government does this, and it's not just the Democrats, not anybody, but that is why Bill Clinton had a surplus when he had a surplus.
Well, I appreciate your call. Greg, thank you for it. I appreciate it. Another important assessment that the president didn't, in fact, wander off the stage like he did at that one. It was like an education something or other, and Jill Biden was talking, and he just kind of wanders off. And I have to remind myself that it is a meme. Somebody put an ice cream truck behind it, but I've seen that way more than the real video. So it's almost as if the ice cream truck it's like a Mandela effect type of thing.
He like looks up and then looks back.
Whatever he walks off towards, he is headed somewhere. 314-241-9797. If you would like to call and grade the president's speech last night, or if you didn't watch it at all, you can tell us why that might be the case. 314-241-9797. Give us a ring. Let's talk to Steve in Fairview Heights. Steve, thanks for calling the show. What do you think?
Hey, thanks for letting me on the show.
Sure.
I agree with you. He didn't bumble through it, and he successfully made it through it. But just like on any test, if you cheat and lie, you're going to fail. So I give him an F for taking credit for things he never did, and 2, for lying about things the way they are. And after 30 years in the military, that's a failing grade in my book.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Thank you for the call, Steve. I appreciate it. I mean, Brad, did you give a grade yet?
Not today.
Do you want to give one now?
Yeah, I can go ahead and give one now. I gave him like when we said the poll, it was a B or a C, so that's what I voted. But I'm leaning more C. He got the C because he was able to complete it. What was contained within it?
It's just unbelievable,
right? Yeah, I can't believe we're saying that about the leader of the free world. Hey, he got through his State of the Union, and and you could watch him wind down as the time went on. You could see him wearing down. But the thing about it is like our previous caller said, there are things in there that were blatantly untrue. There were things in there that were blatant propaganda. You get to do that. It's your State of the Union.
You also get to get called out for it.
Yep. And I don't like whenever the president does those sorts of things and like bragging about how great the economy is when the economy is, by all metrics, outside of jobs numbers, by all metrics, outside of that one, is in terrible shape. Like, you can't brag about starting a fire and then start to put it out.
Well, you can in politics. That means you're really good at it. Keep calling us, 314-241-9797. I'm going to get to more of your phone calls here. Here's from more
COVID left its scars, like the spike in violent crime in 2020, the first year of the pandemic. We have an obligation to make sure all people are safe. Public safety depends on public trust, as all of us know. But too often that trust is violated. Joining us tonight are the parents of Tyree Nichols. Welcome.
So, talking about the correlation between COVID and crime, and he went on to kind of call out law enforcement, and I'll give him credit too. He also indicated in his speech last night that the experience of Tyree Nichols doesn't speak for all of law enforcement. Let's get to some more of your calls, 314-241-9797. Tim's holding on the line in Marthasville. Thanks for calling us, Tim. What do you think?
Thank you for taking my call. Sure. I would love to give him a P, but you're not giving out Pinocchios is great. But no. I'm going to have to give him an F just because it's incredibly how much he lies and how much the whole system has changed there. We're used to the State of the Union forever was a system of, platitudes. They're breaking their arms to pat each other on the back, whichever party was in charge. Well, of course, when it started with Nazi Pelosi going ahead and ripping the speech in half, which had to have been partially cut to begin with, because she doesn't have the strength in her old age to have ripped it. But, all they do now, and he's purposely picking fights with the Republicans over Social Security. You know, it was like, how anal can you get?
Yeah.
If you're going to give yourselves the pat on the back, give yourselves the pat on the back, and get back to regular programming. I'm just so sick of this politician in particular, and when he's talking about just that last sound blip there with, the 2020 and the riots and stuff. Well, gee, let's see. Maybe it's because all the poor people were not locked up so much they were just about to go nuts to begin with.
Tim, thank you for the phone call. I appreciate it. A solid F grade from Tim there in Marthasville. Let's go to DJ in St. Louis. DJ, thanks for calling the show. What kind of grade would you give the president's speech last night?
I'd give him a B+. I mean, it was a speech for the people of America. This is insurrection territory.
What would you say is insurrection territory?
Well, you all.
Me?
All are insurrectionists. I don't know if you are, but...
Well, hold on a second. DJ, okay. Like, we can have a conversation about this. I'm not going to cut you off, but if you're going to call in my show and insinuate that I, or what I do here, is an insurrectionist...
I didn't say you were. I said this, the people who love this show are insurrectionists.
Hey, DJ,
you know that.
DJ, I said, what about insurrectionists? And you said you all. That's exactly what just happened.
Okay,
so
maybe not you.
Well, but DJ, let me ask you a question.
All right, let's get to the point. It was a great speech for the American people.
So, DJ, hold on a second.
Us. Quit hating. Stop it. This is our country. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, that imbecile, doing what she does, getting paid for it, is so embarrassing. Y'all are trying to kill democracy. Just own it. You're killing democracy. And Donald Trump, please.
Oh, and Donald Trump, man, that guy.
The worst human being alive.
The worst?
Worst.
Donald Trump.
The worst.
Worse than Putin?
Ever. Who promoted promoted January 6th. What is wrong with you all? Come on.
DJ,
Come on.
DJ, how often do you listen to this station?
All the time, because I'm an activist for the right, for the left.
No,
I listen all the time.
I think you might have got dump that. All right. Nope, that's gone. So listen, she just said she's an activist for the right, and then she shifted there to say for the left. DJ, I hate to break this to you. I hate to break it to you, but you are an activist for the right. You motivate the right. You're not going to get me worked up in here. I had to physically signal to Brad, calm down. It's going to be okay.
I was a little shocked because she said that we're the hateful ones and then went on a hateful tirade about us.
So here's what you got to know about this show. If you're listening for the first time, welcome. If you found us last night during the State of the Union, welcome. We appreciate you being here. DJ wants to call in the show, and she had one thing to say. And she wanted to insult me, and she wanted to insult the listeners of this show. Well, DJ, you just said you're a listener to this show. And if you actually listen to the Annie Frey Show with any regularity whatsoever, you would understand where I have been on these issues the entire time. You would understand that I don't peddle in hate. You would understand that I allow people to come on the show all of the time who disagree with me when I open the phones, and I don't open the phones very much. You know why? Because, DJ, you call in my show. You insult me. You insult my listeners, which is where it really frustrates me that you would take the time to call in the show baselessly and insult the people who want to be informed. Ma'am, you want to be informed, and you're obsessed with 97.1. You're in the right place. This is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. And your ears are going to be glued to this station for the next week, just waiting for your name to be breathed here once again to see if you got under the skin of Annie Frey or of anybody else who is listening. What you don't understand is, DJ, you are a dime a dozen. The people out there who want to attack people like me, I don't attack you. I know that there are people out there who are in my line of work. And they make their living on attacking people. I purposely don't do that because I want to be able to have conversations with people who disagree with me. Because that's American. DJ, what you're doing is un-American. And unfortunately, it's also uneducated. And it's actually the worst part. It's lazy. Keep your ears on my show, DJ. I know you're going to. I know you love being here. This was probably the highlight of your day. But if you're going to call into my show and you're going to use foul language, which I will apologize to my listeners if you're able to hear that, I apologize for her language. I tried to create a scenario here, an environment here where people could call in and have a conversation. We've had several people compliment him on his speech today. We will be the grown-ups in the room. DJ's still out there listening. She's not tuning out, I promise you. But she's right. She is an activist for the right. And you've now motivated people, DJ. Thank you. I didn't even have to do it myself. We got some more phone calls to get to here. Let's get Ryan Wiggins in. We can maybe take some more phone calls and see about putting Wiggins America at 1 o'clock. But we'll get the whole crew in here. Hannah's like, get me off of these phones. People keep calling. They're full. 314-241-9797. If one opens, you can get in line. But not you, DJ. Don't you swear on my show. It's very unbecoming of a lady. We'll be right back.
Now move with my head out.
So the Closet Factory, if you've got a disorganized life like I do, I'm doing my best, folks. I'm working hard. I'm trying to get to the place where, you walk in and you have this beautiful landscape in your home because everything is in its place. I can't do that in my house without the Closet Factory. They've worked on my closet that I share with my husband, my kids' closet because we had to split closet to accommodate 2 kids because we have more kids than closets. Yeah, I know. Trust me, dozens of kids. I get it. But if you were looking to, as we march towards spring, if you were looking towards getting that garage finally organized the way it's supposed to be so that you have a place for everything and everything can be in its place, or maybe the basement space and you're trying to get an entertainment built-in scenario where your electronics are hidden and everything looks great, or if you've got grandkids around and you just want to have nice storage space where they can have their things at your home and, go to grandma's and grandpa's and play and have a great time, but when they're not there, you don't have to have all that stuff all over the place. The Closet Factory is the solution for your specific, unique needs. Find out how they can help you by visiting closetfactory.com.
For the first time, Diamonds Direct is offering an extra 25% off all of their Diamond Classics collection. 25% off diamond stud earrings, 25% off diamond tennis bracelets, and 25% off diamond pendants and more. It's true. This Valentine's Day, Diamonds Direct lets you take a full 25% off all these must-have jewelry box staples. Diamond Classics are like a little black dress. It's jewelry that never goes out of style and something you can wear every day, whether it's just running errands or going out on the town. A nice pair of diamond stud earrings goes with anything and everything. And now through Valentine's Day, you can take an extra 25% off. It's our best value ever offered on these popular gifts. Don't miss this sparkling new Valentine's event. Visit DiamondsDirect.com to view the Diamond Classics collection, learn about designer trunk shows offering an expanded selection, and apply for zero-interest financing options up to 3 full years. Celebrate your love and save like never before at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
We trust companies to do what's right, but when they don't, there's Onder Law, making a difference, one case at a time.
Call Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9 million.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
This is where real local and national accountability happens. This is 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
If you're blue and
and you don't know where to go to, why don't you
This
go
is the Annie Frey Show.
Putting on a Ritz. Perfect type to wear a day coat, pants
Are we
with
back?
stripes, and 'cause I wait
No, we're not live yet.
Okay. You want to talk about the thing?
Keep snapping.
I really wanted to talk more to DJ.
Yeah, I think everybody did.
She got really, really foul in her language. But
0
she
to
seemed-
100
She seemed very angry.
from the jump. She was ready to fight, and I don't even know if she would have allowed you to fight back. She was just yelling things. It was really unfortunate. It was really unfortunate because those are the moments I think about my friends on the left that I will have conversations and debates with.
Do they talk to you like that?
If you can have those conversations on the radio, great, because you can have a real debate.
We did. We had other people call who thought the president did wonderfully.
But that wasn't, she didn't want to debate. She just wanted to yell.
And she did.
And she did.
You insurrectionist. He just didn't like it because you were pro-insurrection, which we only talk about on the show all day. It's the most important thing to us. That's going to be in a campaign commercial against me, what I just said there someday. Remember that I said that would be taken out of context. We've got a full board of phones. Can we do Wiggins America a little later and talk to these people?
Absolutely.
You want to grade the president on his speech last night? By the way, in case you weren't if you didn't hear the beginning of it, DJ gave him an A. Well, I said A on the board, but I think she came on and said B+.
Yeah.
So something on the Annie Frey show rubbed off on her and took her from Joe Biden was an A to a B+. So I think what she was saying there really at the end was that Joe Biden could have done better. Anyway, let's get to Steve in Crestwood. Thanks for calling the show.
Hey, Annie, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good, thanks.
What's your grade?
I give him an F, and this isn't necessarily specific to Joe Biden. To me, it's just the blatant lying it's gotten so out of control from both sides. I'm not sure how you could give a positive grade. You know, we've gotten to the point where people are so dug in that they'll defend liars on their side, whether it's George Santos or Elizabeth Warren or Joe Biden. And, you know, you asked the proud Democrat, I don't remember his name, and DJ, you asked for specific points, and neither one of them were able to provide any. I think people are just so dug in, they're going to support whoever side they're on at this point, and I just think that we've gotten to a scary place.
It's sad. I agree with you, Steve. Thank you for the phone call, because the people are not interested. I am legitimately, honestly interested in having a conversation with somebody.
Yes.
Like I am consistent on that. You might be listening right now and say, I don't believe it. Well, that's fine. You cannot believe it. But it is true that I actually think that the conversation is worth the time.
That's why you took those calls.
Correct.
That's the reason you do this kind of thing right now.
I know the name and the grade that somebody is going to, or at least what they told Hannah when Hannah answered the phone call, when I put them on. I knew DJ was going to give the president a high grade. I don't know what she's going to say. I don't know what Jason's the proud Democrat from Missouri who listens to our show, and he calls when we open the lines, and I appreciate that he does that. He was a respectful human being about it. DJ wasn't. Oh, hi, DJ. I know you're still listening out there. Hi. How's it going? You feel better now? Heart rate racing? Mine's not. Let's go to Andy in St. Louis. Andy, thanks for calling the show. What grade would you give the president? Andy, are you there? Let's go to Bruce. Bruce in Wildwood, thanks for calling the show. How do you think the president did?
Oh, I gave a D. I try to stay in the middle, optimist. You know, it's just his problem is everything he says comes from his advisors. They're younger, and it just doesn't carry any weight anymore. It's just, and I wouldn't even use the LIAR but he doesn't have no weight in what he says, and I think that's the big thing, unless you live in the fantasy world like DJ does.
Yeah. I appreciate the phone call, Bruce. Oops, sorry. I do agree with that assessment, too. He seems like the face of a movement and a party, a collection of thoughts and ideas that have been processed, that he's the one they chose to be the spokesperson. But that's not to say that a president shouldn't have advisors, because I think the best presidents surround themselves with people who they have, and the president has the wisdom to assess what they're asking of the people in the room and then lead. But you can't tell me that Donald Trump or Barack Obama or George Bush or Bill Clinton or any of these people didn't lead that process. I believe that Joe Biden is reacting.
Yeah. We did a live stream last night and said the same thing. It felt like a focus group. All the talking points just felt like things they had run through focus groups.
Bob, calling from Baldwin. How do you think the president did last night?
Well, I think the president did absolutely an A+, and it sounds kind of skewed, but an A+. Everything that he said and did was an absolute perfect situation to help bolster the Republicans. He made himself look like a fool. Just because he sits there and talks about the Social Security, Medicare, and saying several want to get rid of this, he doesn't back up those statements. I do investigations. That man would never be able to survive a Dauber challenge, and that means just because he says it's so doesn't mean that it is so.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you get to lead.
An absolute F. Triple F minus.
You get to lead and you get to be that way as the president, talking about that, you said Dauber test. You get to be like that if the press doesn't press you and make you answer for these things. Like, he's permitted to be able to say what he says and not have to face the really harsh scrutiny that should come with it.
Yeah. When he'll make a statement like that, well, several people are saying this, but he doesn't back it up, and he'll never give a name. Well, I'll show you my emails. I'll show you my notes, whatever. Well, those will never be produced. He just wants to get that idea out there to rile up the public out there on these false talking points, just to scare us not to vote for the conservative side.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Bob, thank you for the call. A+ from Bob. See, when I know that it's going to be an A or whatever, and DJ, she wasn't even honest about the grade that she told Hannah. I don't know. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit here. Dominic and Baldwin, thanks for calling the show. What kind of grade would you give the president?
Absolutely. And I just want to say, first off, the show is great. I love the open dialogue. It really is American, like you said. I give him a C, practically because he could have gone way, way left and just made it a radical talking point, even though he is a puppeteer, or a puppet, rather. I don't think they wanted to do that and make it radical, although he... Excuse me, I don't think he gets a better grade because a lot of it was just fluff. There was no content, like a couple other callers have said. It was just, and some of it was lies. Some of it was taking credit for what other, previous presidents have done and set in motion. And the fact that we're coming out of a pandemic, of course we're going to be at a low in unemployment because we just lost however million jobs in the pandemic. So, yeah. People are getting back to work. You're going to have 10, 12 million people getting back to work. So taking credit for things that maybe not necessarily were his doing is why he didn't get a higher grade. But at the same time, he could have gone a lot more left and a lot more sort of the AOC type,
and he didn't.
Nancy Pelosi. Yeah. And he didn't, which I have to give him credit for. And again, whether it was the advisors, like I think Bruce was saying, they still didn't go far radical left, except, on the topic of Roe v. Wade. And, people are going to say I have no right to talk because I'm a man.
No, I wouldn't say that. You're not going to hear us say that here. Dominic,
exactly.
Thank you for the call. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. He is right that this could have gotten under your skin as a conservative, which I am, and you might be. You might not be. This could have gotten under your skin a lot more. I think that the ultimate goal for the president, I think what his team put together last night, and I think that they succeeded at it, was to get him through the physical presentation of this speech and make it forgetful. If you don't strike any big chords on either side of the attack, or like last year when he was talking about funding the police more than the left was like, what are you doing in the State of the Union talking about this? He really didn't, to me, go either way. Real quick, 2 more calls here. Steve in St. Peter's, what do you think?
I gave the man an F, like as in Frank.
Okay.
Let's face facts. This thing, they should have played the intro into the Twilight Zone before he started. Here's what the real deal is. we all have to live out here on our own. We all pay our bills. We pay our rent or house payment. You pay your car payment. You got to go to the grocery store. You put gas in your vehicle. We all do. Look at your life for the 4 years that you were under Donald Trump, and then now look at your next 2 under Joe Biden. If anybody would give that man anything higher than a D, like as in David, you must live in your parents' basement because you're certainly not living out on your own.
Steve,
if anybody wants to stand there and say that their life has greatly improved under Joe Biden, again, you must live in your parents' basement.
Yeah. Thank you for the call, Steve. I appreciate it. One last call. We'll get to Patrick and Glenn Carbon. What do you think of the president's speech last night? I almost said parents.
I don't think I can do any better than the previous caller. He absolutely deserves an F. And he earned that F within his first month of office and has gone downhill since. I mean, it was childish acts on his part. If you remember, his first month in office was to cancel every executive order that Trump did, no matter how good or how well it benefited the American public. He was just cancel.
Yeah.
And then later on, trying to retract some of the things that he did because he later, within a year, he realized, well, that was pretty good, and
Patrick,
maybe I shouldn't have canceled that.
We got to go, but you are so right when you say that the number one priority of the Biden administration was to un-Trump this country. And that has resulted in an F. I love our callers. I love all of our callers because they're listeners.
Indeed. And we're glad that you're listening. Annie's glad that you're listening and that you called.
Mm-hmm. All of you.
Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to do Wiggins America when we come back?
Yes.
Important things about dynamic pricing. Wiggins
America feel real important
when
now.
we come back. Don't go away.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose, to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, guys. It's Mark. Valentine's Day should be a day to look forward to, unless you have erectile dysfunction. Don't ruin this Valentine's for you and your special someone. It's time to get the solution you want, not depend on the pills. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge Cambridge University. Are you ready to make Valentine's great again and get the results you want in the bedroom? Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and blood flow analysis totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now to qualify. 314-530-7777.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Lawmakers will get what they want. Lisa Brady, Fox News. An all-House briefing now set for tomorrow morning on the Chinese spy balloon, with another later in the day for U.S. senators. A House aide confirming that amid reports the balloon shot down last weekend is part of a Chinese surveillance program that's had balloons spotted over 5 continents.
We learned a lot about this balloon program. And, the last thing I'd say on that is that I would not be surprised if the PRC starts to reevaluate its dirigible collection program.
Pentagon spokesman Brigadier General Pat Ryder, Navy divers spending another day off the South Carolina coast collecting debris from the shootdown. President Biden still facing bipartisan questions about his handling of the balloon that crossed the country last week.
The president takes this very seriously when it comes to making sure we're protecting our national security and keeping Americans safe.
Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre also highlighting U.S. conversations with allies about the issue. The president's now in Wisconsin, taking the pitch for his economic agenda to a union training center. He's also offering prayers to the people of Turkey and Syria after the Monday earthquakes, now blamed for more than 11,000 deaths, while highlighting U.S. efforts to help with earthquake relief. The murder trial of a former attorney accused of killing his wife and son in South Carolina is in recess after a courthouse evacuation.
We just got a statement from the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, or SLED, confirming that Colleton County courthouse officials received a bomb threat. Out of an abundance of caution, they ordered an evacuation of the building.
Fox's Jonathan Seri, state officials and the sheriff's department investigating that potential threat while the Alec Murdaugh trial was taking an early lunch break. America is listening to Fox News.
Kids across America are going to school hungry. Millions of kids every day. Hungry kids get sick more often and can struggle in school. It can be harder for them to focus and learn. But one simple thing can help change all of this for a hungry child in America. Good, healthy food and the energy it brings. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures.
We want to ensure that all of our kids have healthy meals every day.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping feed our kids.
To learn more about ending child hunger in America, go to helpnokidhungry.org today.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Wet, and more wet as we go through our afternoon and into the night. Periods of rain. The rest of today, it's a chilly rain with 48. Tonight, periods of rain. Could be a rumble of thunder, a flash of lightning, though that's very limited. Windy and 38. Thursday, clouds to start, clearing skies in the afternoon, and we should see some sun. Gusty winds, though, 52. Only 35, though, for the high on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Attention bourbon lovers, Mark Cox here. Join me Thursday, March 2nd at the Clayton Wine House for an evening of sampling and mingling. Tickets include appetizers and tastings from some of the finest vendors in the market. Visit 971talk.com/events and get your tickets now.
You're going to love Dr. Ty Parker in Fountains Family Dentistry. He's been a friend of mine for a long, long time. And if you go to Fountains Family Dentistry in Fairview Heights, Illinois, you will realize that it is not only the doctor who's nice, it is everybody there. It is Steve who helps you with your insurance or lack thereof if you're in that boat. It is all of the dental hygienists there, Christine especially, who I always see. Just love everybody at Fountains Family Dentistry. So if you have any sort of anxiety about going to the dentist, don't. especially if you go there, you won't. They're so nice. My kids go there, and it's very rare to be able to say that kids like going to the dentist, but at Fountains Family Dentistry, they do. Not only because they get a little Toy Story package whenever they leave, but because they just love going and getting praise from everybody there because they're so nice. So visit them online at fountainsfamilydentistry.com. That's where you can make an appointment right there and say, here's my hours, here's what's available for me, and they'll contact you. Or you can give them a call at 618-622-1800, 618-622-1800, fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years, Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO, easy to remember phone number, or go online today at 877-25-RHINO.com. This is your chance to join me on a European river cruise this summer. Mark Cox here from my friends at Sunrise Tours. In August, we'll cruise the Danube River with stops in Budapest and Vienna, to name a few. Cabin prices start at just $3,700, including airfare. Plus, you can add a 5-day pre-cruise trip to historic Poland with visits to Auschwitz and the mountains of Slovakia. Call 314-526-3126 or go online to travelsunrise.com.
Need a break from the sound bites and the talking heads? Do you want information you can actually use? Information that'll change your life for the better? Then listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Annie Frey here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friend Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you strategies on how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Annie Frey Show.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I'm the first woman to lead my state. And he's the first man to surrender his presidency to a woke mob that can't even tell you what a woman is. In the radical left's America, Washington taxes you and lights your hard-earned money on fire. But you get crushed with high gas prices, empty grocery shelves, and our children are taught to hate one another on account of their race, but not to love one another or our great country. Whether Joe Biden believes this madness or is simply too weak to resist it, his administration has been completely hijacked by the radical left. The dividing line in America is no longer between right or left. The choice is between normal or crazy. It's time for a new generation of Republican leadership.
I think we've kind of illustrated that here today. Normal and crazy. You do have a choice. Isn't it refreshing to listen to President Biden? Let me finish my sentence, folks. Isn't it refreshing to listen to President Biden deliver the State of the Union and to make his best case and to understand at the end of that speech that that is his best case, and then hear 10 minutes, 14 minutes of Sarah Huckabee Sanders hit it right on the head. It took 14 minutes to say, your choice, the American existence right now, the political division that is in this country is between normal and crazy. Weird the things that we have to say out loud at this point in time. Here's more from Sarah.
Fentanyl pouring across our southern border. Yet the Biden administration refuses to secure the border and save American lives. And after years of Democrat attacks on law enforcement and calls to defund the police, violent criminals roam free, while law-abiding families live in fear. Beyond our border, from Afghanistan to Ukraine, from North Korea to Iran, President Biden's weakness puts our nation and the world at risk. And the president's refusal to stand up to China, our most formidable adversary, is dangerous and unacceptable. President Biden is unwilling to defend our border, defend our skies, and defend our people. He is simply unfit to serve as commander-in-chief.
I detect no lies in what Sarah Huckabee Sanders said there. Her ability to hit all of the important points in this less than 15-minute speech. If you didn't get to hear the whole thing, you need to go find it. And we streamed it last night, so you can watch the whole thing on the Annie Frey State of the Union stream from last night while we watched both speeches and react to them in real time. Here's more from her.
And while you reap the consequences of their failures, the Biden administration seems more interested in woke fantasies than the hard reality Americans face every day. Most Americans simply want to live their lives in freedom and peace. But we are under attack in a left-wing culture war we didn't start and never wanted to fight. Every day we are told we must partake in their rituals, salute their flags, and worship their false idols. All while big government colludes with big tech to strip away the most American thing there is, your freedom of speech. That's not normal. It's crazy, and it's wrong.
Keep saying it. Keep talking about it. We're going to listen to a little bit more from her speech later on in the show. In about 15 minutes from now, we're going to speak with Tomi Lahren, who's going to join us. She is with Outkick. She's a Fox News commentator. You see her all the time. She's going to react to the State of the Union speech from last night. It is so important to understand the choice that you have right now in politics. I know that we're kind of in a off year as far as elections go. But it is so incredibly important to understand how drastically different these parties are, but also to understand that you do have a choice and to assess for yourself exactly what each party stands for. Don't let somebody else explain to you what the other side is about without them articulating why you should support the side that they're on. If you want to listen to someone who wants to hurl insults and speak in an unintelligent way, kind of like caveman-esque about insults and grunts and moans, is like not really productive for anything. Don't encourage that kind of behavior. But if somebody wants to talk to you and they're on the other side of the aisle and they want to have a conversation, it's important to listen. It's not always easy, but it is important. Want to do Wiggins America?
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! And now for what's important.
Mm-hmm.
AMC Theaters has announced its new 3-tiered price system based on seat location on Monday. And the prospect of paying a little extra for a special spot, as in one of the seats that already existed that you could have sat in before, to watch
Not
new
necessarily.
flicks. They're not creating new seats.
They're creating new seat availability.
That's exactly right. Creating demand. To watch new flicks is causing a stir online. The 3-tiered seating system includes value sightline, standard sightline, and preferred sightline sections, according to the company's Monday press release, which says, quote, while every seat at AMC delivers an amazing movie-going experience, we know there are some moviegoers who prioritize their specific seat. and others who prioritize value moviegoing. Sightline at AMC accommodates both sentiments to help ensure that our guests have more control over their experience so that every trip to an AMC is a great one, unquote. I am completely done with dynamic pricing.
Why do you hate capitalism?
I don't hate capitalism. I, as a capitalist, want to boycott people doing this. I don't want the government involved.
You know what that means? You're just not going to see movies.
I may be right, unless enough people join me in saying, can I just buy a movie ticket and sit down in the theater? Do I have to reserve everything ahead of time so that I can get a seat that's not behind one of Wrigley Field's pillars or whatever in the movie theater now?
But when you buy your ticket, don't you want to know that you're not going to be sitting behind one of those?
What I want to know is
Answer
that I can just sit down in the movie theater without thinking about it. I don't want to think about it.
It's surprising to me that you don't want to do any extra thinking.
What's surprising to me is that you are wanting to spend the least amount. Well, this isn't surprising, but you're looking for a premium experience for a general admission price. When you go to a Cardinals game or you go to a hockey game or anything like that, this is the exact same pricing scheme that they use. Closer to the ball field, closer to the dugouts, you get more. It's a better experience, so you have to pay more for that experience.
And in turn, on the other hand, you would pay less for a lesser experience.
Mm-hmm. So what is wrong with a company saying this is the better experience, so this is more of a premium spot, and this is not a great... Like, I would rather a company not charge me as much for the seat that's right up against the screen, so you have to stare straight up the whole movie, than I would pay for getting the premium spot in the middle of the theater or on an aisle or whatever the premium spot happens to be.
I think what it sounds like to me is that you guys don't value hard work, because what happens is those who are willing to work for the good seats and show up early pay the same as those who show up right before the end.
The people who are sitting around and have extra spare time to show up early to a movie theater because they're not at their jobs. I mean, I can play that silly game.
Yeah, they're not working hard.
No, you're saying everybody who shows up early for a movie is not working?
No. My argument that I just made is dumb, like yours was.
No.
The other way you could look at that too is I value my hard work and I value my money, and therefore I want the most experience I can get for my money, which means if I pay a little bit extra to ensure that I get the good spot, then I value my hard work more than if I just want to like show up early or cut out of work early or whatever it is you have to do.
I don't think that you have to miss work to see a movie, is my point.
Well, it depends on how much you work, Ryan.
My point is that you're simply saving everybody time if everybody is going into this with the same expectation as you've always had, which is I'm going to buy a movie ticket and I'm going to take what's there.
People have been reserving seats in movie theaters for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I remember when the Avengers movies released. When a new Avengers movie would come out, I remember waiting in line outside the theater, inside the theater, the lines wrapping around, hoping that you got there early enough to get a good seat. And you're paying, what was it, $18, $20 to get a movie ticket to see it in 3D and all this other stuff. And then you get in there and it's like, you didn't get here in time and you got to sit in the front or way in the back or off to the side behind the pole at Wrigley Field. That's not fair to those people. So if you could just go in there and be like, I'm okay getting a not good experience and I can pay a little less, then great. But if I want the best experience, I can ensure that I get the best experience by investing a little more.
I'm going to do something that is very counterintuitive here. I'm going to point out that all the people who are agreeing with me are using very leftist language to do so.
What?
This is from Elijah Wood. He says, quote, "The movie theater is and always has been a sacred democratic space for all. And this new initiative by AMC Theaters would essentially penalize people for lower income and reward people for higher income."
Then go on a Tuesday afternoon for a matinee.
Do you know what else rewards people on a higher income? Everything. Like, you want to buy a car?
I think that's my argument, is that
Elijah Woods wants to get paid billions of dollars, exaggerating, to look really sad for 17 hours in those stupid Lord of the Rings movies. And he wants
I'm gaining friends right now. Fans of the franchise are now on my side.
I don't care. I hate those movies.
Okay.
They're so stressful.
Continue.
And I don't even remember if it ends happy.
It does.
At that point, it's not worth the investment of emotion and energy. And he is so sad, those big blue eyes of his. I'm mad that you brought up Elijah Wood.
Clearly.
You didn't clear that with me ahead of time.
Clearly.
You didn't say this was going to have to do with Elijah Wood.
You're right. I did not mention
so
Elijah
sad.
Wood in my text.
The whole time.
He does. He looks like he's on the verge of crying all the
Now,
time.
Rudy, on the other hand, I'll watch that movie for Rudy. I'm always cheering for Rudy.
Sam's the
You're
best part of
talking
that.
about Rudy, the character, being in Lord of the Rings, but not being named Rudy. Being named Sam.
She's talking about Sean Astin.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And the character is Sam, and he is the best part of that
From the
movie.
Goonies?
Yep, he's the best part of that movie.
Yeah, he's great.
Here's another one. NPR and PBS correspondent Ian Saint said, quote, I'm also thinking about the exhausted low-wage employees who will be tasked
They don't have to work there.
Hang on. Who will be tasked.
They go and they argue against their non-compete, and they go across the street.
We haven't even talked about that yet.
Other movie theater.
We haven't talked about that yet.
Or they go into
Spoiler.
the lucrative industry of flipping burgers, but only one place, because those non-competes, well, we're going to do something about it.
Well, he's looking out for them just like Joe Biden was. He says, I'm also thinking about the exhausted low-wage employees who will be tasked with trying to enforce this new tier price seat assignment policy.
Those small little people, and it's just awful. They're so poor. They work for a wage that is so much smaller than what I make. It's just so sad. It disgusts me.
Look, I hear it.
Can you
I hear
imagine
it.
working for an hourly wage at a movie theater when you're all of 17? It's terrible. What is wrong with these people? We should shut down all the theaters. That's the solution. And then give these people movies for free. Where's my agent? Stupid.
Look, what he's saying here is that it will be tough to do this because everything I've just done. I just went to Monster Jam a couple weeks ago, and my wife went to Disney on Ice. Mm-hmm. There were people in our seats every single time, and then we had to wait, and the usher had to come, and it was 15 minutes later before we're sitting in our seat. That the same thing's going to happen at the movie
you didn't
theater.
go up and say, hey, you're in my seat?
We did.
And they didn't get out of your seat?
On Monster Jam, they did. For
So
my
what?
wife, they did not.
You're entitled to your seat.
Yeah, but then 15 minutes later, I'm waiting to watch the show, and I'm still standing in the aisle waiting for the usher because the people won't leave the seat. This kind of stuff's going to start happening in the theater. That's all I'm saying. Is this stuff is super annoying.
No,
I'm not putting ideology behind
it.
it.
If that were the case and you showed up and there were people sitting in your seats, they wouldn't be your seats. You just have to go sit in the crap seats because those people got there first. This makes our point.
No.
Yes, it does. Because you're saying
because you already
seats.
paid. You paid for this system. You paid for those better seats.
And
you're not getting
Did you end up sitting in them?
After 15 minutes into the movie.
Which is sooner than you would have had you not had any access to those seats because those people got there first.
But in the original scenario, you didn't even pay for those extra seats. You're just sitting whatever's
I want to
there.
talk more about Joe Biden and his amazing speech and non-competes for fast food workers.
I will agree with you on this point.
The one that I'm right?
No, the one you just made.
Tomi Lahren is calling us right now, and we are arguing about this.
I hope she's not listening. I hope she's not listening. Let's get out of this break before she listens.
No, it's embarrassing. Dynamic pricing for movie theaters.
Hannah's giving us the wrap-up signal.
We're going to take the fastest break ever and get back to real things to talk about. In the State of the Union speech, the president, we're going to get Tommy's grade, the fastest break ever. Don't go away. Tomi, when we come back.
Somewhere they're speaking, it's already coming in. Oh, and it's rising at the back of your mind. You never could get in unless you were fed in. And now you're here and you don't know why. But under skin knees and the skid marks past the place.
I'm Howard Mackler of GetRefunds.com. You may have heard me talk about the payroll tax refund program that gives businesses up to $26,000 for every employee they kept on payroll during COVID. But today, I'm not going to do the talking. I'm letting a real Get Refunds client tell you everything.
I'm Evan, owner of Laveau DWI Law. I heard about the payroll tax refund and GetRefunds.com on the radio. When COVID hit my business, everything shut down. Revenue, phone calls, all business. The new cost of operating during COVID hit hard too. I had to personally fund my business. GetRefunds.com got me approved for a payroll tax refund, and with that money, allowed me to recoup losses and costs, even where I had positive income in the later quarters of COVID recovery. If you have a business, you should go to GetRefunds.com and start your claim right now.
GetRefunds.com helped their business, and we can help yours too. Go to GetRefunds.com and see if you qualify in just 8 minutes. GetRefunds.com, powered by Innovation Refunds.
The Mark Reardon Show.
To save money during World War I, Woodrow Wilson got rid of the White House groundskeepers and kept a flock of 48 sheep on the lawn to chew the grass.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFreyShow.
Baby got me racing off track, tailpipes burning up like a smokestack, breaking my heart 'cause she never looked back. Whatever lie she
Democracies have become stronger, not weaker. Autocracies have grown weaker, not stronger. Name me a world leader who changed places with Xi Jinping. Name me one. Name me one.
What? I mean, I want to impose a test on President Biden and just make sure he can name the world leaders. It's unbelievable. The State of the Union, we've taken calls in the first hour. We had some must-listen-to calls earlier. We're asking you to grade the president's speech from last night. If you watched it, if you didn't watch it, you can watch us on YouTube and cast your vote right there. But I want to get to our next guest. Very excited to have Tomi Lahren on the show with us. Host of Tomi Lahren is Fearless on Outkick. I love Outkick and everything they do. Tomi, thank you for being here with us today. We're really grateful for your time.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and I'm grateful that the State of the Union is over for another year. So, hey, listen, that was the best part of the night. The highlight is when it was over for me. And, given Biden's age, his cognitive decline, and the number of Democrats hot on his tail, this could have very well been his last State of the Union. We just don't know. So, here's to hoping at least it's his second to last.
Yeah, but, the idea that I'm getting from a lot of the callers who are reaching out to us, they're really happy that some of their comments, that he made it through the speech, that he didn't wander off from the podium when he was up there. And boy, are we having a weird set of standards for this president and his ability to effectively deliver a State of the Union to join Congress.
Yeah, the expectations were admittedly low, so I guess he decided to rise to the occasion. I was honestly surprised that they had it at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's a whole 3 hours after his bedtime, so I don't know what kind of upper they gave him, but yes, he did indeed make it through, so I guess there's that. But also, my reaction to the speech is this. If you hadn't seen what Biden had done for the last 2 years, you might have almost thought that he was a unifier, that he did want to work with Republicans, and he wanted to have this bipartisan relationship. But if you look at what he's done for the last 2 years, it's the exact opposite of that. But I think he's trying to gear up for 2024. He kept saying over and over again, we got to finish the job. I think that's going to be his campaign slogan if they don't push him off a cliff before then. But he tried to make it seem like everything is wonderful. And if you don't watch the news or pay attention, you might have believed him.
Man, you guys need to make sure that you listen to Tomi Lahren's Fearless podcast. It's on Outkick.com Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. our time, of course, for her latest trending topics and interviews with great guests. I see it pop up all the time, and you do such a wonderful job of getting to some of the key issues that we should be talking about. What didn't you hear the president say last night that you think should be at the forefront of what the American people need to hear from their president in that moment?
Well, there was a lot. I mean, he talked about fentanyl, but then he conveniently forgot to mention where it's coming from, and it's the wide open border that he and his comrades have created. So that's another issue, crime. He talked about an assault weapons ban, but he didn't talk about the activist DAs that are letting criminals and thugs run buck wild in our streets without actually being prosecuted to the extent of the law that they should be. So crime, of course, the border, didn't talk about it. He spent about 7 seconds on China, didn't even mention the giant spy balloon that he left drift over our country for days at a time. So those are things that he should have talked about. But here's something that I thought he would talk about, but noticeably he didn't. He didn't talk about how men could get pregnant. He didn't talk about 65 gender options. And that's exactly because he understands that all that woke crap is not helpful to him. It doesn't mean he's not going to do it and put in policies that strengthen the woke crap. It just means he's not going to talk about it as much because he realizes it's not palatable to 80% of Americans. But I think if you want to be a woke administration, you should have led with that. We should have talked about birthing people and trans activism. I didn't hear it last night, though.
Yeah, it didn't. It's not something that is, I guess, popular enough to talk about in front of everybody. It works in the groups where you're, milking people for donations and trying to get political capital. But he didn't stand on that issue last night. We're speaking with Tomi Lahren, and I want you to check her out on Outkick. She's a Fox News commentator as well. Tomi, let's talk about Sarah Huckabee Sanders' response, because she gave less than 15 minutes of a response to that over an hour State of the Union address by the president. She said a lot in those 15 minutes.
She did, and that's exactly what the Republican Party needs to focus on and needs to do moving forward. She understands that there is a younger generation of conservatives and Republicans that are maybe a little disheartened and disgruntled with the current state of the Republican establishment, and she countered that perfectly by keeping the speech short, by hitting on the key issues, highlighting the fact that she is not only a governor, but the youngest governor, that she is a woman and knows what a woman is. She's a perfect highlight of what we need to move towards as a Republican Party. And I also got to say, a bold move putting a governor in that position. Governors, Republican governors, are hot right now. We need to stick with that moving into 2024. That is the vein we need to stay in because it's a winning one, and I hope to see more of it.
Tomi, I'm a millennial. I don't know if you're probably, are you millennial? Right?
I am.
Okay.
I am. I'm 30 years old, so I am actually perfectly in that millennial category.
Exactly. And I'm more of what I refer to as a centennial or a senior millennial. I'm 38. I got 4 kids. Millennials have mortgages right now. Gen Z is coming up. They can vote. The higher end of those folks can vote. You look at someone like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and I ask myself, can she translate her message to younger people who might be able to understand coming out of college right now that maybe it's not the experience. Costs of everything are astronomical right now. They don't really look like they're going to curb and the bottom drop out anytime soon to get back to where they should be. How does this Republican Party, the Sarah Huckabee Sanders Republican Party, maybe the Ron DeSantis Party, how do they get that message into a younger group that really showed up to support Democrats in the midterms?
Well, it's not about just talking about it. It's about doing it. And I'm glad you brought up Ron DeSantis, because the reason that he won so handily in Florida is because he did contrast not only the messaging, but the actual actions that he took, especially during COVID, to keep Florida and Florida's economy chugging along and people in Florida happy, keep as much money in their pockets as possible, and keep freedom at the forefront. So that's what's going to be so important for Republicans, is not just messaging how bad Democrats are, but provide a solution. Allow young people to see that things don't need to be this way. A lot of young people graduate college, they've never had to pay a bill, and they just think that this is what adult life is like. They think that paying $13 for eggs is normal. It's not. So we as a Republican Party need to not only talk about how bad the Democrats are doing, but say there is a very simple solution here. This is how we're going to do it, because this is how we're doing it in successful states, and then do that in a nationwide way.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And I think that it's incredibly important for the Republicans to understand going forward in 2024 as we get there. And we're going to go through what's going to be a very dramatic primary, I'm sure. And you look at everybody who is up for it. They're all better options than Joe Biden, easily, or some of the other Democrats who actually may be more effective Democrats than Joe Biden. The game is the way it is. They've been able to effectively change a lot of laws that surround elections. How do Republicans win so that they can fortify the security of those elections in the future?
Well, you brought up a great point. We actually have to win. So we can't talk about election integrity and voter fraud when we continue to lose. So we're not going to do anything about it from a losing spot. So if we make our campaigns all about voter fraud, we will lose. And I know that's a hard reality a lot of Americans don't want to hear, but it's been put in practice. You see it with Donald Trump. You see it with Carrie Lake, 2 people that I like very much. But when they focus all about a political vendetta, we will lose. You can't fix anything if you keep losing. So instead, what we need to do is we need to start playing the game. We don't like early voting. We don't like mail-in ballots. But guess what? Those things are probably here to stay. So we need to make sure that we are strategically doing what the Democrats are doing and pushing early voting, pushing mail-in voting, and making sure we get people out to the polls, but making sure that they utilize every possible avenue they can to get their Republican vote in, because that's what Democrats have been doing, and Democrats keep winning. So we can complain about it, we can moan about it, but we're going to do it from the losing section if we don't play the game. And that's just the fact of the matter.
Tomi, before we let you go, talk to me a little bit about Tomi Lahren is Fearless and on Outkick and what you do each Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday evening, 6 o'clock our time.
Right. So Outkick is, we are the anti-woke. We started out as a sports enterprise. I'm the one that primarily does politics on our platform, but I'm going to give it to you straight, and I'm going to give it to you from a way that you're probably not going to hear most people talk about it, because as you can tell, I'm very frank, I'm very direct, I'm a little sarcastic. So that's what I have on my show. I want all people, but I want especially those young people that feel like maybe they can't really connect to people on cable television or can't really connect to older generations talking about politics. I want them to be able to listen to me, and I'll give it to you straight. I might make you laugh, and we're going to have some fun, and that's what I try to do every day on Outkick.
Well, go to Outkick.com to learn more about Tomi. We love having you on here. Thank you for your time today. We'll be sure to be tuning into your podcast.
I appreciate you guys. God bless.
You as well. God bless. Tomi Lahren, host of Tomi Lahren is Fearless on Outkick, also Fox News commentator, and very active on Twitter as well. You can go follow her there. I like what she's saying there about the election process, because are there valid complaints that people have about the way the election process has changed? I absolutely believe that there are valid complaints, but you can't just whine and moan about it and keep losing. You got to do something different if you're going to win in the future. I don't know if I trust the Republican Party's fully grasped that yet. Do you?
I don't think so. Not yet. But there are some in there. Scott Pressler comes to mind.
Yeah.
Where he's like, all right, well, ballot harvesting's a thing now, and it's legal. Work. And so he's out training people how to do legal ballot harvesting.
We should get Scott back on.
Yeah. That'd be a good
You
get.
want to contact him?
I'll do my best.
Fantastic. I look at somebody like Tomi, and she is somebody who is out there. I mean, she is fearless. That's the name of her podcast, but it is very true. She comes at all of these issues with a very sharp blade, and she's prepared, and she presents herself in a way that is very effective in a lot of ways. And I think that she's a great piece of this puzzle of being able to talk about important issues. And I mean, honestly, what she said about election integrity or whatever, moving forward and winning elections is not really an easy thing to say out loud. And it's kind of not a popular thing to say out loud. A lot of people want to talk about, we should have one election day. You should only be able to vote on one day. No mail-in ballots and all this stuff. That's not going to happen. Those changes aren't going to happen. And if you want to continue to lose elections whining about the field and whining about the rules on the field, if you're content to do that, okay, you get to make that choice, but I just am not. We're going to have to win the game with the rules as they are set out right now. We're going to have to come up with a new playbook with fresh faces. We're going to have to go to different corners of the political world and talk to people and be willing to listen to people so that we can make progress on that. So we like to have all sorts of people on this show to talk about those issues. Tomi, definitely grateful that she came on with us today. Let's take a quick break. We're going to get a little more reaction, some of the comments here. We'll have Hannah can come into the studio and read some of the comments from folks as you are voting right now in the YouTube live chat poll on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. What grade do you give the president's speech? You have 4 options. You give him an A. Do you give him a B/C, an F, or you didn't even watch it? Let us know in the comments why you voted the way you did. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
TheDiamondShop.net is the website. If you're looking for something for Valentine's Day, today's the 8th. Valentine's Day is obviously the 14th. Is that Tuesday? I think it's on a Tuesday. That makes sense. Yes. Brad's affirming. You just got time to go to the Diamond Shop and just check out their beautiful products that they have there. In-stock jewelry, 30% off. Drop the Annie Frey name while you're in there, and you get an extra 10% off. That helps us. That helps you. And it is the best place to shop for jewelry in St. Louis. They've been around since 1910. These folks know what they're doing. They have beautiful pieces, and they are very respectful of you when you come in. Every customer is important. It doesn't matter how much you're spending or if you're just starting the process of looking. Go to the Diamond Shop right now and pick out that piece. Like I said, 30% all in-stock jewelry you get to save, plus an extra 10% when you drop the Annie Frey name. You can go online to thediamondshop.net, become a VIP, free to sign up to be VIP. Members get special discounts and merchandise. And I want to remind you, they have special financing available, which is 6 months, same as cash. Go get that beautiful piece today at the Diamond Shop, online at thediamondshop.net.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Hi, this is Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, Tom's nephew. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. What if it were possible to protect you from market downturns without having to make an emotional decision to buy or sell? What if you could take advantage of a strategy that would automatically take you out of harm's way during the bad years and position you for the growth opportunity during the good years?
The secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. By linking to the market instead of owning the market, you can participate safely on autopilot and lock in your gains without creating a taxable event. Go online at retirementkey.com for a no-obligation retirement review. Learn the strategies that have helped our clients retire with confidence for the past 36 years. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Hi, this is Terry Hall, host of the popular radio show for veterans, Vet Time in America. Sundays at 12 noon on 97.1 FM Talk. Our show is all about veterans. We talk with experts. We help you get benefits, how to get more, and what to do if you're not getting what you deserve. Tune in on Sunday at noon. Join the conversation. We take calls. Vet Time in America. Tune in this Sunday at noon on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 54 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Connect with the personalities and give your feedback. 97.1 FM Talk is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For content that's additional to the radio, join us there. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Speaker, I don't want to ruin your reputation, but I look forward to working with you.
I thought that was a funny line. He was talking to Kevin McCarthy. He said, I don't want to ruin your reputation, but I look forward to working with you. That's better than the normal. You know, there's been so much pressure in a lot of the political speeches about unity, and they talk about unity, and like this was a Nancy Pelosi, especially a Chuck Schumer line, where he'll be like, we look forward to working to anybody who wants to come and sit down and have a conversation with us to learn what we're talking about or whatever. And it's like, you're permitting them to agree with you? That's not unity. Not how that works. So we have a poll up today on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, as we do every day. We spent the first hour talking about this in 2 segments, taking phone calls on this to get a reaction to today's YouTube live chat poll. And normally we recap the results at 2:45, but we thought we were getting a lot of reaction to it. 1:45. We'll give you an update. Hannah, what can you tell us so far about the poll and what people are saying?
So the YouTube poll is asking, what grade do you give the president's speech? An A, a B, or a C, an F, or did you not watch? Tons of comments. Those calls were great earlier. Keep the comments coming in. Amy from YouTube said, I gave him a B or a C based solely on his performance. He exceeded my low expectations. Overall grade, though, will be an F for yelling at his constituents and the obvious lies. John Anderson from Facebook commented that he gave him just straight up F-.
F-. So little emphasis on the end.
Yep. Mike Forrest from YouTube said, I gave him a B or a C. He prepped really well for it.
I agree.
Hunter says that the mechanics of his speech were good. He looked alive. The context was terrible. Scott Vetter from YouTube said, I gave him a C. He didn't fall asleep, or do anything else. Mike said that he didn't watch and that the poll wouldn't let him click on it. I don't know why the poll's not letting you click, but we'll feature your comment anyway. Clayton from YouTube said he gave him a C. He looked like his blood was flowing a little bit more than usual, although he still failed at providing true and accurate content. I wonder if he got into Hunter's stash of pick-me-ups.
Oh,
that's an
interesting way to...
Interesting comment. Carlo watched the Annie Frey Show live stream of the State of the Union last night, and he said that he gave them a C-, and he still stands by that. Last night, he graded Joe Biden a C-, and he still says that today. Weapons Free from YouTube said, a grade on Biden's speech is a lying, or that lying gave him an automatic F.
Listen to Nancy Pelosi on President Biden's
Joe
rerun.
Biden is a person of vision, knowledge, judgment, strategic thinking to get the job done. He was a remarkable 2 years, and again, connects very empathetically with the American people. So I hope he runs. I'm for him if he runs, and I know that the Democrats will fully embrace him. If he runs, it's over.
Well, then he should run. I'm okay with him running again.
Yeah, run again.
I think that's a great idea. I think that Joe Biden deserves another crack at it. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, to not let him do it would be ageist, wouldn't it? He's too old to run for office.
Yes, I think that's how it goes. I think that's the way it the way it goes. Do you think that the Democrats really believe that?
That he's too old?
Why would you look at the success that he's had so far in his presidency? He's one of the most successful midterm winning presidents this country has known. And if you look at a lot of the legislation, when Nancy Pelosi is talking about all the successes they've had, those are her accomplishments. Those are not his. He signed the bills. He's not doing the work to get them through. That success does not happen, thank God, with Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker of the House. How does Joe Biden look 2 years, the last 2 years of his term, when the election is commencing, with a Republican majority that's been able to stop a lot of what they determined to be progress? I don't think he looks as good.
No, but I do think that the appealing thing about a Joe Biden is that empty vessel that they can fill up with their policies, push out there in front of everybody, get those things pushed through. And then if he gets dinged on scandals or whatever, well, he's out. But we're not out. The people that are actually making the decisions aren't out. We still have the advantage of ruling. So you get to like all the upside of governing with none of the downside, none of the risks.
I know Hannah couldn't join us last night because you had babysitting obligations.
Yes, I was not going to tune in to that in front of the children.
So you didn't make them sit down and listen to their president?
No.
The children. You sound like Mary Poppins, which is my favorite Disney princess / queen.
I did listen to clips of it, and I watched all of Sarah Huckabee Sanders' response. Her response was great.
That
was like my
good.
first real exposure to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and I was very, very impressed.
What is it about her speech, Hannah, as somebody who, got to because she was Donald Trump's first, well, not first. Who is the guy who did the Dancing with the Stars?
Sean Spicer.
Sean Spicy. You wore that green puffy shirt. I didn't even watch it. I know that he was the press secretary, and I think he got kicked off the first week. So, or maybe he didn't. Wasn't he one that people kept voting for and everybody was getting really mad?
Like, why he's so bad?
It was just Trump people voting for Sean Spicer because why wouldn't they? Like, you didn't see this coming? Ugh. Anyway,
Quick Rick commented and said that would have been child abuse.
You got to see Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She's 40. She's 2 years older than me. Actually, like probably less than that. So she is young.
Mm-hmm.
She's in charge of Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
When she shared the story about traveling on Christmas night through the night to go to Iraq, that was a really good story. I was glad to hear that. That was probably my favorite part of the speech.
It got me listening to her talk about it. I went back that night, like after we ended the live stream, and listened to more of it. Here's more from her speech. Let's just listen in.
America is great because we are free. But today, our freedom is under attack, and the America we love is in danger. President Biden and the Democrats have failed you, and it's time for a change. A new generation of Republican leaders are stepping up, not to be caretakers of the status quo, but to be change makers for the American people. We know not what the future holds, but we know who holds the future in his hands. And with God as our witness, we will show the world that America is still the place where freedom reigns and liberty will never die. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America.
In her speech, she said some really, really crazy, shocking things like what a woman is. And she mentioned God.
Mm-hmm.
And she mentioned freedom. She talked about the troops. Do you know that President Biden last night didn't talk about the troops?
Not until the very end.
Now, I'm going to say that politically, that's like the no-brainer thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a unify. You want to bring people together for a hot second. You want people to go, well, he did say blah 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 blah. It's going to be when you talk about the troops, but it actually means more than that. And in a world right now where I'm looking over my shoulder on any given moment and seeing just within the last 10 minutes, Fox News was doing a story about an emboldened North Korea and talking about Kim Jong-un's daughter. I guess she's the heir apparent. I don't know. Putin on any given day. There are questions right now surrounding the Nord Stream pipeline and how that was blown to pieces. We're going to get into that at a later date. A little more information to come out before we cover it here. You pay attention to Ukraine, what's going on there. We have an open border on our southern sovereign border. If you're somebody, I'm not even going to say if you're somebody in the military, because that's a different breed, which is why they deserve the recognition, I should add. If you love somebody who's in the military right now, if your children or grandchildren are of drafting age, are you paying attention right now to what's going on in the world a little bit more than somebody who doesn't have that person in their life? When you see conflict arise across the globe, and you understand what Americans' role has been in those conflicts previously, and that would be an indication of what potentially could happen in the future, and you've got a son or a daughter or a grandson or granddaughter or a husband or a wife or a parent who is connected to that conflict through their amazing sacrifice and service to this country in the military, those people are listening to the president to make sure that he cares. Because he will have to make decisions with the lives of those individuals that they have volunteered, they have signed up for something that is entirely bigger than themselves. He's the guy who's in charge. I did not see him acknowledge those people who have signed up, who have volunteered. I did not see him acknowledge the families who are attached to those people last night. So when people suggest, you should have talked about the troops, that can be easily thrown out there as a check the box. Did we talk about the troops? Oh, yeah, in paragraph 46. Cross it off the list. There is an element of that is political, but it is incredibly important to identify that it is much more important than that. This president dishonored so many veterans who gave their lives, who served with people who gave their lives in our participation in Afghanistan. He dishonored them. He should be looking for every opportunity to show that that was not the intention and that he is eternally grateful, as you are and as I am, for the sacrifice of those individuals. He misses that opportunity. Brad, I don't know. It's not something we really discussed last night, but when I was thinking about the speech and we were going through it, I'm like, what an unfortunate slight.
Yeah. I don't understand, like, the troops, like, we are where we are. We are a country because of the people that put their lives on the line every day. And we, like, they leave their families. They go to foreign bases. They're deployed there. I have a personal friend, very close personal friend, who I did ministry with for a long time. And then he got deployed and he was overseas, and he's got an autistic daughter at home. He's got 2 sons. He's got a grandchild at home, and he had to leave his family and his wife, and he had to be over in this foreign country for 6 months, living in a tent, doing things to ensure that the world doesn't spin out of control so that we can live the lives that we live here. And to not even acknowledge that during your speech as State of the Union as Commander-in-Chief of the United States Armed Forces, like you said, it's a very, I don't know if it's intentional, unintentional, but at the end of the day, it is a slight to our troops to not mention them.
Yeah. You watched the State of the Union with us last year.
I did. It was my very first State of the Union that I watched last year.
That's right. And we got together last year, and that was when we discovered that you were 20 and not 21.
Right.
Because I asked our boss, or I asked you, so you're going to have cocktails, we're going to have whiskey slush. And I was like, how old are you? And you're 20. I was like, oh, I didn't know what to do professionally. I feel like it's important to acknowledge that you watched that with us, because that's a whole year that you've been with us here on this show and a part of it. Like, would you say going into watching the State of the Union last year, I know that you weren't able to watch it in full this year, but what do you like? How have you grown, Hannah, in a year? I mean, I know I definitely have my thoughts on it, but I'm wondering what you think.
How I've grown in a year? I feel like I'm a lot less naive with politics. I've learned to dig in deeper and create my own thoughts, and that things are not as good as they look. Like, things really are bad in our country right now. And I've gotten less nervous to talk about everything on air.
And it's great. And you saw President Trump?
Yeah, I did.
And you met the Secret Service?
I did. Yep. Got close to Trump, and then I got really far away from him.
A little too close to Donald Trump, but the girl was working, and that was awesome about it. All right, are we taking a break here? Yep. All right, we'll be back in just a little bit. Ryan Wiggins is going to join us in here. Go get your grade in for the president's speech on the YouTube live chat poll. Back in a minute. Don't go away.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, cash back at participating convenience stores too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
Hi, this is Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, Tom's nephew. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. What if it were possible to protect you from market downturns without having to make an emotional decision to buy or sell? What if you could take advantage of a strategy that would automatically take you out of harm's way during the bad years and position you for the growth opportunity during the good years?
The secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. By linking to the market instead of owning the market, you can participate safely on autopilot and lock in your gains without creating a taxable event. Go online at retirementkey.com for a no-obligation retirement review. Learn the strategies that have helped our clients retire with confidence for the past 36 years. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
This Valentine's, let's be honest, Diamonds Direct knows what's on all of our wish lists this year. Just like the little black dress is a wardrobe staple that can be worn for any occasion, diamond classics like diamond stud earrings, pendants, and tennis bracelets are the perfect addition to dress up any look. For the first time ever, Diamonds Direct is offering an amazing 25% off their Diamond Classics collection. With 25% off, it's never been easier to build a perfect timeless jewelry collection. Every outfit is complete with these classics. Dress up your look with a pair of diamond studs, tennis bracelet, or pendant. Now through the 14th, take an additional 25% off Diamonds Direct's already low prices on their Diamond Classics collection. And give that little black dress lots of sparkle.
Don't miss the best ever Valentine celebration at Diamonds Direct with unprecedented savings, in-store designer appearances, and special 0% financing offers. Get all the details at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
That balloon was part of a pattern. Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Pentagon says China's spy balloons have collected intelligence on militaries around the world.
Fox News has confirmed that this fleet of surveillance balloons are part of a large covert program run by the Chinese military, or PLA, and the balloons are launched from Hainan Island province off mainland China. It's a global program that covers 5 continents.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon.
When asked again why NORAD did not shoot the balloon down as it crossed over Alaska, one U.S. official told me sometimes you like to watch a thief to learn more about the thief's capabilities and patterns before making an arrest.
Navy divers continue a search off the South Carolina coast where the balloon was shot down on Saturday. The head of NATO says Chinese intelligence efforts pose a constant risk. He spoke alongside Secretary of State Antony Blinken, also getting renewed questions about more help for Ukraine.
We've calibrated our assistance to meet Ukraine's changing needs from the outset of the Russian invasion. And that's exactly what we'll continue to do.
This as Ukraine's president visits Britain, asking for fighter jets, which the new British Prime Minister did not rule out. President Biden highlighting earthquake aid for Turkey and Syria.
You see dads or moms pulling little babies out from underneath this rubble. So many people dying. And our thoughts are also with the survivors who've been torn apart by this tragedy.
More than 11,000 have died as the search for survivors continues. The president speaking in Wisconsin, also calling out Republicans again over Social Security and Medicare, even though last night most applauded the idea of leaving them off the table in the spending debate. Florida Republican Senator Rick Scott has proposed sunsetting federal programs after 5 years unless lawmakers vote to keep them. America is listening to Fox News.
Kids across America are going to school hungry. Millions of kids every day. Hungry kids get sick more often and can struggle in school. It can be harder for them to focus and learn. But one simple thing can help change all of this for a hungry child in America. Good, healthy food and the energy it brings. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures.
We want to ensure that all of our kids have healthy meals every day.
Thank you. Thank you for helping feed our kids.
To learn more about ending child hunger in America, go to helpnokidhungry.org today.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Wet, and more wet as we go through our afternoon and into the night. Periods of rain. The rest of today, it's a chilly rain with 48. Tonight, periods of rain. Could be a rumble of thunder, a flash of lightning, though that's very limited. Windy and 38. Thursday, clouds to start, clearing skies in the afternoon, and we should see some sun. Gusty winds, though, 52. Only 35, though, for the high on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
With each breath, allergens, germs, and viruses get trapped in your nose. Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage. Available at Navage.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When children were being fatally injured by window blind cords, Honor Law took on the manufacturers to have dangerous cords banned.
Call Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 6189 million.
22 years of questioning the narrative. Thanks for making 97.1 FM Talk your home for conservative talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I have to say, I would give Speaker McCarthy an A for his work so far at the beginning of the 118th Congress, and we are in possession of far more tools that will help us get to those policy outcomes that we want. Look, I want strong borders, I want budgets that balance, and I want bureaucrats held in check. And now, as a result of what we went through in early January, we have the tools to evaluate spending legislation, not all together at once in some 4,000-page bill, but in individual appropriations bills. We can offer cuts to the salaries of specific bureaucrats if they've turned against the people.
Matt Gaetz there saying that he gives McCarthy an A for his work so far. And Ryan has a lot to say about this topic. Take it from here.
Okay, well, last night, so I was watching Matt Gaetz, and I mostly consumed this through a bad lip reading. But apparently at some point last night...
So it's moderately accurate.
Yes.
The lips were correct.
The lips were correct. The audio, if you just turned it off, it really didn't matter.
Okay.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Did you guys see this? She walked over, and she used to be the head of the DNC. I don't think she is anymore. She went and sat right next to him. And he was in the middle of a conversation, and he just stops the conversation, turns to her, and is like, "What in the world are you doing here?" And she says a couple lines to it. You don't know what they're saying. She says a couple lines, and then she stands up like, "Well, I tried," and then leaves. and he gets up and does the same. There have been a lot of those with Matt Gaetz since you asked.
Tell him about the other thing.
The other thing.
Guys, I'm so tired.
You tossed to me thinking I was not going to have anything to say about Matt Gaetz.
No, that's not true.
Lo and behold, had my Debbie Wasserman Schultz
you talked
ready
for
to go.
60 seconds. Congratulations.
You're welcome.
We break in 12 minutes.
Do you want me to just keep filibustering until you break in?
No, what I wanted was for you to do good radio right now so that I could take a nap and not have to have this public conversation. But here we are.
We failed at that.
Brad? What do you want to do?
Debbie Wasserman Schultz, go.
I'm the board op.
Do not downplay that role.
I don't think you're boring. You're just the op.
I didn't say board op.
I made a joke.
It's kind of.
I hate when you talk about jokes that you've made. Just make the joke.
If it's a good joke, people will laugh.
You know what?
Yuck,
There are times they can't stand on their own. You got to give them a little bit of
Then
help.
make better jokes.
No,
if they can't stand on their own, don't make it.
No joke in the history of comedy has ever been made funnier because you said, I made a joke.
No, that's not true.
No, that's factual.
Sometimes it's just like when you're trying to paint the ceiling. You can't quite get there. You need to get the stilts out. That's some of my jokes. Not quite painting the ceiling with them. Not really a reference to any sort of thing because people don't talk about painting the ceiling as if it's some sort of euphemism or anything else. But now it is. Now, if I tell a bad joke, I'm like, not quite painting the ceiling, am I? And people are like, nope, that's all Wiggins right there.
So
Man.
Was that a joke? I can't tell. You should
No,
tell me.
that was not a joke. That was for real.
Not a joke.
Not a joke.
Not a joke, man.
I mean
serious.
Come on, man.
Let's just do the next 10 minutes in Joe Bidenisms.
He didn't really say any of those last night.
He used "No, I'm serious" a lot.
Did he?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
remember hearing that one.
That's the equivalent to Donald Trump's "It's true," which is so funny every time it happens.
It's funnier now because at first I didn't realize what he was doing.
Who, Trump?
Yeah, Trump. But after a couple of years of hearing him do
We
it,
talk about it on this show.
you try to figure out.
After a couple of years of hearing him
he's
do it,
realizing
you telling
this
me.
as
and I was
he's-
saying it.
It's like I had this voice come to me.
Yeah, it's my voice on the show that you're on.
Yes,
with my name
somewhere.
It was
I picked
weird.
this up.
It was weird that it was a female voice in my own head, but
It's actually probably the case.
Yeah,
This is
I'm not exactly painting the ceiling. With
Real
that one, but-
question.
painting the ceiling
I'm
with
glad
pudding
you
right
said
there.
that, Brad. This is how you know Brad's a professional. And here, let's pivot to Ryan Wiggins. Real
Please.
question for you.
Yeah, please.
In your mind,
Let's get real.
when you're thinking, do you think in the terms of like words? Like, are there conversations that are happening in your head when you're thinking through things? Or are your thoughts like less rigid?
Less formed.
Yeah.
There.
Or do you think in pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
there's
mean,
kinda-
that's kind of the question.
Do you
is, like,
think
do you
in
think
blocks
in words
or do you
pictures?
think in pudding? Is what you're asking.
No.
Yeah, that's what you're.
Do you know
asking.
the answer to that?
The way I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in words and sentences. I have conversations in my head.
Yeah.
When I analyze it, I'm thinking in words, but I think there's a lot of times when I'm not analyzing that I'm thinking that it's just kind of there.
I actually listened to a really interesting podcast.
I've heard
about
this is like a psychological question that people.
Yeah, people
have
either
discussed.
think in pictures or they think in words. And this lady was speaking to Dr. Peterson about this. It's a very psychological conversation. And she was explaining how she uses the pictures, because her pictures are very detailed, to come up with solutions to different problems that, like engineering problems. She was an engineer. And she's like, so like if you said to me, and she's like, just give me a thing. And she's like, so I'm visualizing, and she's just describing the picture. And she goes, and then I can see how that problem wouldn't work and how to fix it without actually writing anything down.
I think I'm more visual, and So I've told this story before, but I had a very rough junior high experience socially, and I say that like it's unique, but I think that's kind of everybody's experience in their own terms. But it certainly was mine, and I was from the class I was in. I was very isolated from the girls that were in the class. The boys actually kind of embraced me a little bit more. And I went to a parochial school, Lutheran school. So it was a small classroom. By the time you get into junior high and you've gone to school with 60, 70% of those kids, it's like since you were 3, you just become more tight-knit. And I was very isolated from a lot of the girls that were in that class and have since, like, I don't have any problems with any of them. And I know that I was not always the nicest person at that age either. It's a difficult time. We all have our experiences, some in middle school, some in high school, whatever. But I was so isolated socially in a smaller social setting, being that it was a parochial school. It's not like you had one class of 20 for English and another class of 25 for math and so on and so forth. So you kind of, it's like, it can be the best of times, it can be the worst of times. I established friendships that are lifelong. My best friend today was, in my mind, what I consider to be an 8th grader, because I was a 7th grader when a lot of this happened. And my parents encouraged me, go make friends with the people in the classes around you. And one of the things that caused my isolation was athletically, I got moved up to play on a team that was a grade older, and I was the only one in my class for volleyball who got to do that at the time. I didn't really get to play much because they were good and whatever. So I developed these friendships with people and had great friends that I maintain today. But when I was in my own classroom, I was incredibly lonely, painfully lonely. And some of the experiences that I had from some of the girls were incredibly painful experiences, like intentionally, purposefully mean girl mean. And I know for a fact that I was a participant in doing that at other times to other people. So I'm not saying that I'm some like victim. It's just a very unfortunate part of middle school existence, I think, is the social struggles that go on. Regardless, I was very isolated. And I spent about a year and a half living that experience where I had friends, but they were always just a little bit out of my reach because they were in a different class, or they were the boys and the boys were all nice to me and I was friends with them, but they were still, you're not like going to the sleepovers with the boys and playing video games with them or whatever. They were nice to me. They kind of looked out for me, but it's middle school. I developed in those 2 years and then further into high school this ability to sit and think and to watch and to observe, and everything in my view became information, which I really credit. I mean, maybe you hate the show, but you listen all the time, DJ. Just saying. Maybe you love the show, maybe you hate the show, but I'm an analytical person, and it really developed out of those very formative years of mine, being kind of isolated from the group socially, and then kind of not really understanding how to push myself back into social situations comfortably. And all of a sudden assessing, like I said, everything is information, everywhere, every detail. And I just started paying attention to that and learning people in a way that helped me understand how to be a welcomed presence in the lives of other people. Like, how do you treat people in a way that makes them say, I would like to be Annie's friend? Like, I had to force myself to learn these things. And so I think that now I've become this very visual person, but I can, in my head, envision a scenario where there's a conversation happening or whatever, play out in my head all of the different ways that conversation can go, and work it in a way that at the end, I guess what I'm saying is that I get what I want, but what I want might be not just selfish or self-centered, but just the way to have a productive conversation requires some effort and some thought. I'm really good at that, but it kind of comes from a really unfortunate reason. You were kind of nodding your head like you had that experience.
Well, I went to parochial school until the middle of my 7th grade year. And so when you were talking about, it's like when you get ostracized or whenever you're separated,
it's hard.
It's really hard. And it's especially hard in a parochial school because there's not another group you can go find. And so then I moved and I went to a public school, which it didn't get any better over there because I didn't ever develop the skills to go find a different group that I got along with. And so in that same manner, to sit by yourself, learn, watch, think, oh man, can I sit and think about things and just have an entire conversation in my head about it. I don't know that they get so much visual The times in my life, though, that I do know that I am very visual on something is whenever I'm working on cars. I picture the issue. I see it. I know what's going on. I've woken up in the middle of the night. I've been struggling with a diagnosis on one of my cars, and I've woken up in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m, gone outside, pulled the thing apart, fixed it, and put it back together.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, that's what the problem was. And it was that, it was a visual sort of thing. So, yeah, I get that. I understand that. I know where you're coming from, especially like then whenever I got into high school. So middle school wasn't so bad for me. High school was awful.
Oh.
I see people talking on chat about, wait until your 50th high school reunion. Do you know how many high school reunions I've even received an invite for?
I don't even know that happens as much anymore. The ability to stay connected post-high school with social media makes it very easy to stay connected with the people who you want to. And it's like the ones you haven't.
But I know that they happen.
Oh, well.
Ouch.
Yeah. And I just have never received an invite. And I'm okay with that. I'd never really developed tight bonds with the people that I went to high school with. It's actually really kind of cool on the other side to find out that, like, for example, Trisha and I went to the same high school. And I didn't know that. And we had a whole job interview and all this other stuff. And she's like, do you know Eric Range? I'm like, he's my brother.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy cow, we used to just hang out together and all, But I never did develop those close relationships. So it's not like I'm missing people or I feel like I'm missing out. It's just like, okay, that just wasn't a very good part of my life.
So you visualize?
Sometimes. Mostly conversational, but...
Explain. I mean this. Explain to me, because I don't understand. How do you think about a conversation in pictures?
Well, we're not talking about thinking about conversations specifically. The question is... When you're thinking or analyzing things, are you thinking in terms of words or images, pictures, experiences that you would see? Does it go through your head as a conversation? Or are you, I think that Brad, the analogy of fixing a car is... Like, are you thinking, okay, now I tried this, and now if this isn't working, so if I did this, would that fix it? And going through that kind of conversationally in your head? Or are you able to close your eyes? Like, not are you able to, but do you see it? And think your way through it by looking at it in your mind's eye?
I'm making a logic leap here because we all, even Brad says, you mostly think in words. I exclusively do, I think. I would think that, and we all like movies, so obviously we don't just think in terms of words and experience words, but I would guess that most of the people who listen to the radio regularly also think in words more than pictures. I'm taking a guess, but
I don't think so, because I think that the idea of people listening in the radio, that a good radio broadcast would create images in, like, that listening to...
I see what you mean.
Listening... Yeah. Hearing it, the input may be words, but the process of how that looks in your brain, like people talk about, I don't know if you know what we look like. Brad and Ryan are both middle-aged. I am middle-aged. I'm a little bit younger than them. Ryan is about 5'4", and when he stands up tall with his lifts on, he's like 5'6".
Platform shoes.
I'm slightly above average height for an American male.
I would say
that's what short people say.
You're incredibly average.
I would say the same about. I'm not going to say it about you. I'll say it about me because I'm just a nice guy.
I think
guess
whatever
I'm just a
you're
nice
about
guy
to
down
say,
in my heart.
What you're about to say is going to still come off like you said it about me. Go ahead.
I think that you're a great person and above average height.
I am above average height. I'm not. I'm 5'8".
Yeah, just like I was saying before about you being above average height. That just proved it.
Okay, I think that what you're trying to get here is a win, and I will allow it.
Take the W, Ryan.
Feel very good about it.
I didn't need you to give it to me, but I will accept it gladly.
Humbly.
Well, I think it's important that I provide it for you. Let's go to a break.
No. Hey, it's your show. You get the last word. So.
That's correct.
If I say something else, then you're just going to get the last word again. So
no, I won't.
Doggone it.
We'll be right back. After this.
When I lost it, yeah, you held my hand, but I tossed it.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
So say Geronimo, say
Last night, after we got done basketball practice, we swung by Ruler Foods. Now, first of all, let me tell you what, it was hopping in there. I was so excited to see so many people shopping. And it's funny when you get around the corner to like the dairy section and people start seeing prices for some of those special items around that corner. Everyone's like, oh my gosh. The savings are unreal. If you haven't shopped at Ruler Foods yet, if you've driven past a Ruler Foods a million times and you've never said, I'll stop and I'll go in and I'll see what this is about, do it today or this weekend because the savings are ridiculous. We bought our sodas. We buy, I guess there's 6 packs of Diet Pepsi and Diet Mountain Dew. Great savings on those at Ruler Foods. They have name brand prices just like you'd have everywhere else, but they also have Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. So if you're looking to save, you need to go to Ruler Foods, especially if you're throwing a big party this weekend or you need to bring some snacks to celebrate some sort of football event that might be taking place. You go to Ruler Foods, you save money. I promise. RulerFoods.com.
Secrets, cover-ups, and strange phenomena.
UFOs and ideas that challenge reality itself.
My name is George Knapp. I dig into news stories that others can't or won't.
I'm Jeremy Corbell, and for some reason, people tell me things they probably shouldn't. And this is Weaponized. Follow and listen to Weaponized, the presentation of Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Dark Horse Entertainment, and Cadence 13 Studios. Available now for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your shows.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
He's been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Attention bourbon lovers, Mark Cox here. Join me Thursday, March 2nd at the Clayton Wine House for an evening of sampling and mingling. Tickets include appetizers and tastings from some of the finest vendors in the market. Visit 971talk.com/events and get your tickets now.
Everybody else having fun.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Mercy, look what just walked through that door. Well,
it's a great song to line dance to. Did you ever go to Wild Country, Ryan?
After it was closed, I looked at it.
Did you try to go and you couldn't find it?
Yeah. Like, why are any people here?
I can't find it.
I'm
Where
ready
is
for
it?
some country dancing, and there's nobody here.
You know what they say.
No, I don't. there's lots of sayings. So it could be any one of them.
If you can't find it? You don't know the Wild Country slogan?
No, I don't.
The slogan is, if you can't find it, you're too stupid to be here.
Really?
Oh, my gosh. You're from here.
Well, I found it.
You're from Collinsville.
Yeah, I lived right up the road from it. I knew where it was. I wasn't too stupid.
This
I just didn't want to be there.
Yeah, you did.
No, I did not. I didn't want to be a part of your cool club. You just got talking about how everybody loved you all the time in school and how cool you were.
That's actually the opposite. I said sad things from my past that were very hurtful, but thanks for revising that history. You part of the 1619 Project? Are you part of the 1996 Project?
I am part of the Lincoln Project, and I am part of the Southern Poverty Law Center.
And I'm here to represent the other girls in middle school. Oh, that's so sad. I don't want to do that.
No, I never once went to Wild Country, to answer your question.
I'd go back there in a heartbeat right now. Especially this is weird, but before smoking was outlawed in Illinois, it was like a special scent.
Oh, I'm sure.
That I would come home, we'd get home at like 3 a.m, and it just I'd have to take a shower when I got home, because otherwise then I'd have to wash all my bed sheets, because I've always had long hair, and the smoke and the stink of a nightclub and being there, like, oh my gosh.
That smell that you experienced in Wild Country is now what I experience with marijuana literally everywhere. That smell is everywhere
a marijuana
now.
Smell.
I know. I'm just saying now that the what was confined to a club
Have you ever been
is
driving,
now literally everywhere.
Driving in your car, and you get a whiff of it.
Preach. Yes. What the heck is going on?
Like, what is in this stuff?
You get a whiff of it. You look over. You see the person next to you smoking it, and their windows are up too.
Yes, 45 miles an hour down a 4-lane road in like suburban Madison County, and I'm driving, and all of a sudden the kid's like, "What is that smell?" And I'm like, "That's marijuana. Where is that coming from?"
Yeah.
Mommy.
I'm alone in my van with my kids.
Yeah.
The car's windows are all fogged up, just rolling out.
Is it just going through the ventilation of the car, and it's that putrid that it comes into mind? I sound like such a naive Pollyanna.
That little button on your dash that looks like the car with the
cycling the air inside and outside.
If that's not pushed, that's pulling air in from outside.
I have to go push that button. I'll be right back. It's terrible.
Just duct tape it down, because it's
crazy.
crazy.
I think you just have to push it once. You don't have to hold it in.
I think you got to push it every time you get in the car, don't you?
Depends on the make and model.
Let's just go out to your car right now and find out.
Bye. We do have a bone to pick with you.
Oh, no. Is this? Oh, no.
So dynamic pricing.
Here we go.
You made the case in Wiggins America, which was bumped to $145 because we had to let DJ cuss me out at $12.45. She gave Joe Biden an A converted to a B+, I might add.
Yeah. Hannah somehow talked her down.
Well, the influence of the Annie Frey show is very powerful.
Clearly.
So we moved Wiggins America, and your Wiggins America today was on your disgust with the dynamic pricing in movie theaters because you are a communist.
I'm just really looking forward to whatever brilliant point you've come up with since then that you had to share with me.
No, I had
now.
it there before, but when you left the room, Brad and I talked about
It was yes. Clearly,
we actually
you
thought
did
about it
off
when you
air.
were talking about it.
Yeah, and said, "Oh, we've really got him now."
You said that you think that you should be able to buy a ticket. Everybody buys the same ticket, and you walk in and fend for yourself.
Sounds like a
communist. And the award that you want to reward to these people is the ones who can get to the movie theater and spend the most time waiting so they can secure their preferred seats.
Yeah, you got to sit through the, no pain, no gain. You got to sit through the trailers and everything to get the best seats.
What if the pain is in your wallet?
The pain is the same for everybody in that case.
Which is what you always advocate for.
No, I'm not even making an ideological case.
So how do you feel
equal
about
outcome?
How do you feel about lightning passes?
It's not equal outcome because you sit in different spots.
Brad,
payment.
We are supposed to only talk about this on Fridays, but I'm just going to mention it here to articulate exactly how Ryan Wiggins is a hypocrite here. When we're going to Disney World as a show, we talked about this last Friday. We're going to save the maybe longer form conversations about this for Fridays. But when I asked you guys, because we're going to go for 3 days and 2 nights. It's not a lot of time. When I asked you guys, Brad, I said to you, what is it that you want? What is the most important thing? What's the priority for Brad? Your response was?
Probably Galaxy's Edge.
Okay. Hannah's response was?
The castle, I think.
Brad, what was Ryan's response?
I don't want to wait in any lines.
Okay.
Fact.
I have discussed with you folks that there is a premium service that you can purchase that allows you a drastic differential in the amount of time you will wait in line. And you are all about that.
Let me quote you back to you.
Okay.
What I'm doing, I would hope that Disney would have never done dynamic pricing to begin with. But now that they have, you have to play within the system and win within what you got. So what I'm saying about movie theaters is don't even cross into that territory. Now that Disney has, now I'll play within their system, sure.
I have not been to a movie theater. I don't go to movies a lot to begin with, but I have not been to a movie theater. The only time I'll go is if it's like a big epic production. Mm-hmm. What do they call those? Epic
blockbusters.
Whatever. Marvel, Avatar would be one that I would go see, but I haven't taken the time. Maverick was probably the last time I was in the movie theater. You always have to reserve your seats.
I haven't done that in a long time.
That's like not a new thing at all.
I always just show up. I still do it the old-fashioned way, which is pretty much why I'm advocating for still doing it the old-fashioned way.
You also have a checkbook.
Personal.
The Marcus Theater by me, you can't even get a ticket without
picking a seat.
Every one of their theaters, you just pick a seat.
I have no idea. That's how little I go to the movie theater. But whenever I go, I just show up at the movie theater and buy a ticket.
Incredibly not shocking. But in addition to your comments that you made earlier about being opposed to dynamic pricing, so that you think that the fair way to do it is to make all pricing the same and then let everybody go in and sit wherever you sit when you walk in. You argued against having to charge more for premium seating, but you're willing and eager to do that at Disney to skip lines.
Yeah, like I told you, that's because they've already got the system in place.
That system is in place right now in movie theaters.
That's a factor I don't know about because I just don't do it. But if you want to make it ideological, I'll go there. The way I'm advocating for a movie ticket is essentially a flat tax. You guys are advocating for progressive tax. You want the rich to be able to pay more, the poor to be able to pay less.
No,
I'm saying
it's
across
actually
the
not
board,
true. Everybody pays the same for the same product.
No, that's the exact opposite of what AMC's trying to do. They're trying to make you pay more for better seats.
You don't pay more if you're rich.
They're not the same seats if they're better seats.
It's
not the same product.
It's not based on the person. It's not based on what you have.
They've all been the same seat.
The seat costs X dollars for anybody who wants to purchase it.
Up until now, all of those seats were
what
the
I just
same.
said.
But they were the same price, but they weren't the same seat.
Yes.
They were different seats. Some seats were better, some seats were not.
Yes, absolutely.
So what you're actually advocating for is the progressive tax.
No. What I'm advocating for is ease. This thing, ultimately, taking all the fun out of the argument, this just is dumb, and I don't like it. and it's boring, and it's stupid, and I hope they don't do it because it's just adding more complexity to something that used to be very easy.
I'm not surprised that he's intimidated by complexity. He couldn't find Wild Country.
That is also not true.
It's not new.
Apparently, yeah. That's how much I go to movies anymore, is that I don't even have the AMC app. Somebody was tweeting at me earlier.
You get one segment a day on this show.
Yeah.
And you're so disinterested in going to the movie theater that you don't go very much, but you wanted to use the one segment to talk about how this is like tyranny.
Yeah. I was using my segment to say, please, let's not make everything dynamic. Because I'm picturing a world where now you walk into the grocery store and they're like, oh, you want that cucumber? Oh, that's an extra surcharge because it's a good one.
Like an organic one?
So like...
No,
or what if
grading
it's
every individual
What if it's like,
cucumber?
A bigger package of ground beef? It weighs more.
Well, then
you
costs
have to
more.
Okay.
Or a higher grade. It already does.
I'm just picturing this becoming so normal that every single thing.
It's so normal that you don't even realize that it's normal.
You just want to walk away from the argument. You just want to walk away and play the music.
I'm afraid that the people listening have walked away. However, is there anything else that you feel like you haven't said on this topic that is important?
I was done with it before. I'm letting you guys just dunk on me now. I'm just Muggsy Bogues out here. You guys are like, dunk.
Yeah,
I got my
how
trampolines.
Tall was he, like 5'4"?
No, 5'3". We'll be right back.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewart's American Mortgage, Stewie, and the Bagel Loan, helping people exactly like you secure that home purchase. People worrying about the market and inventory, but you found the house. You found the one you want, and you're wondering, is now the right time to pull the trigger on it? Well, it absolutely is. Rates have come down. They've continued to come down. And when you go to Stewart's American Mortgage and you ask them how the Bagel Loan can help you, you are going to understand why so many other Annie Frey Show listeners have gone this route. The number is 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. And when you talk to Stewie about the Bagel Loan, he's going to explain how there are no fees. The closing costs, Joe Biden would really like that. He wants to get rid of all the fees. That's already happened with the Bagel Loan. They don't exist. You don't have to pay for them. He doesn't tuck them away or roll them into the financing. You don't have to go through that with Stewart's American Mortgage. You can take that money and use it for whatever is best for you, to make a more competitive offer, to put something cool in the basement or maybe the garage, or just to put it back in your savings account. 314-324-4440. You can Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
As the familiar tune fills the air, joy radiates along with the heat of flickering flames. You make a wish for another year surrounded by the ones you love. With each passing year, the compassionate team at Prairie Cardiovascular will be by your side with heart care that allows you to focus on what matters most. A life well lived. Prairie Cardiovascular, here with you.
Conservative Scare is our monthly action plan to make a difference in our community. Hi, this is Kathleen from the Mark Cox Morning Show, and in February, we're focused on the Animal Protective Association of Missouri, connecting people with animals in need of homes. Learn more at 971talk.com/care.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Make sure you're heating your home safely this winter with a heating system check. And for all other heating services, repairs, or if you need a new heating or HVAC system, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Well, Wednesday afternoon, I suppose we'll have to recap the State of the Union, as boring as that might be. But we also have Alex, Rich, and Hayes from Y98. They swing by Wednesday afternoons.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for being here with us today. Spoke with Tomi Lahren at 1:25. Interesting conversation. Her assessment of the State of the Union and really getting to her straight talk thoughts on what the president said and what Sarah Huckabee Sanders said as well. People were saying ahead of this that this was going to be kind of a kickoff campaign for President Biden for his second term. And I know what you all have been wondering about. What does Chris Wallace have to say about this?
Only 3 in 10 Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents feels comfortable with Joe Biden running for president. One of the problems the Democrats are going to face is that his vice president is even more unpopular than he is, has even lower standing in public opinion polls, and you can just see Republicans as Biden gets closer to the nomination, and we assume is going to keep Kamala Harris on the ticket, that Republicans will start making the argument. You're talking about an 82-year-old man serving till he's 86. And if anything were to happen to him, God forbid, Kamala Harris becomes President Harris. That'll be an issue for the Republicans in the upcoming election.
Probably an issue for the Democrats also. Maybe just in general for the country. Chris Wallace making some sense there. Kellyanne Conway talked on the issue.
I think Kamala Harris is a little bit damaged goods because her problem right now, as you both correctly point out, Harris, is among Democrats. They are no longer just whispering about it here in Washington. They're saying the quiet part out loud to no other than the New York Times. I'm fascinated by the fact that the New York Times would even run a story like this. Other mainstream media outlets are running similar stories where either on the record or off the record comments by people who are close to her, who work for her, who work with her, who want her to succeed, who helped put her on the ticket in the first place. They all roundly criticized her lack of doing the work. I think that's the theme here. We all know that to succeed, you just have to show up, speak up, put up, and stand up and do the work. Her polls are just as bad as Biden's, and I think that was his first big decision that he announced to the country. And it will saddle him, and every Democrat sitting in that chamber today in the U.S. Capitol for the State of the Union is going to look at Kamala Harris and say, why aren't I there?
So Kellyanne Conway is correct. If you're a Democrat, I mean, think about all these very burdened with ambition Democrats sitting in Congress watching this take place. It was very refreshing for me to see Kevin McCarthy behind Joe Biden. And I don't know that we've really talked about that much. I haven't heard a whole lot of conversation about it specifically, but the importance of his presence there as the leader of the Republican majority in the House cannot be understated. Here's David Urban, a GOP strategist.
That's great politics, right? For Republican primary politics, it's phenomenal, right? He gets to battle against woke, against DEI, against everything that the Republican base doesn't like, and especially on the heels of what Disney did. Disney waded into a culture war when most companies would kind of backed off, and it's like you said, it's a piñata for Ron DeSantis here.
So the Ron DeSantis conversations are swirling. People talking about Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Somebody posted on our comments that we were featuring last night on the live, and it said Huckabee Sanders 2032. And I read that, and I just was thinking Sarah and Bernie Sanders. I was like, I don't really think I see that happening. But they were just really talking about Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Can you imagine that pair? Ron DeSantis has just released the largest tax relief proposal in Florida history. You see him pushing back on education and trying to instill a more focused and what I would consider proper attitude towards education, which is teaching, not indoctrinating on any of the issues. To see that is a priority, and then to hear those comments last night by Sarah Huckabee Sanders and her focus on the things that matter to people, that matter to everyday people. It does not take convincing. If you listen to Sarah, for me at least, if you listen to Sarah's whole speech, I just hear what she says, and she's saying what I'm thinking. She's not teaching me anything. She's not persuading me to come to her side on anything. She's just identifying the existence that I know to be true in my life. I get it if you're on the left and you're not for the things she talked about. You didn't have that experience. And I've heard some people who are on the left react to President Biden's speech last night and feel like he really hit it out of the park. It's just very difficult to get any of those people to talk about specific instances where they see the moment that we are in this country, Joe Biden's leadership being the right place at the right time. I just thought that Sarah's response was so well articulated. And when I look at all of the options that the Republicans have for president, I mean, I don't know, list them. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is part of that conversation today. I don't know that she will be in 2 months, but she has the pedigree to do it. Mike Pompeo has talked about whether or not he's going to run or not. Mike Pence has discussed whether he's going to run or not. John Bolton, don't forget about him, has announced that he's running. Then, of course, Nikki Haley is poised to make a very big announcement, which people assume is going to be a presidential campaign announcement. Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, of course. And there are other people who we haven't listed who you think about being the president of the United States, and you're like, that wouldn't be bad. And it's important to listen to yourself, have that conversation, and take it out of the context of wait, is it this person or Trump? Because that is a whole different discussion that we can't really think about the full Republican bench right now without the constant, yeah, but you're a Team Trump, right? And I'm not interested in that. I'm Team Trump. If he gets the nomination, I will advocate for people to support him until I'm blue in the face. But the Republican Party is bigger than that. What he's created in America First is even bigger than him. What a compliment to the man and his ability to effectively lead as the president before. Like, what is Biden's legacy? We have to finish the job. I mean, he said that a bunch of times last night. I mean, Brad, when you think about all those different people who we listed, I would gladly vote for John Bolton over Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
It would be the most boring presidential campaign in the history of presidential campaign.
John Bolton versus Al Gore.
Gosh, don't do that, Ryan. I sit there and I listen to that, and I agree completely with your comment about how you don't have time for are you Team Trump or not? I don't have to be Team Trump. I haven't even come to the voting booth yet to vote. I want Donald Trump to earn my vote just like I would want Ron DeSantis to earn my vote or Nikki Haley to earn my vote or any other candidate in there. I want to see what you have. And there's nothing wrong with stepping away and looking what the other candidates have to offer. There might be somebody that lines up better with your wants and desires for this country and your wants and desires for your home life than just Donald Trump. And like Donald Trump, props to him, did a great job as president. But that doesn't guarantee him my vote, and I'm not being disloyal by kicking the tires on other candidates. And I just want to encourage everybody else out there. It's like, it's all right to look at other candidates and say, maybe they have something to offer that Donald Trump doesn't, or maybe it just confirms that you really like Donald Trump.
Yeah. What do you think, Ryan?
It was strange watching Sarah Huckabee Sanders last night because in my head, I know that she is now a politician. She's the governor of Arkansas. But last night, all of a sudden, she became a real possibility for other things, too.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not what I was expecting to get out of a rebuttal speech from the State of the Union. All of a sudden, you're right. Your thought goes to, man, the bench is actually pretty deep here. Not to say anything about Trump, positive or negative, just to say that whether he is the nominee or not in 2024, beyond him, 2028, regardless, or if it's 2024, there's a lot of people to choose from who seem to have the right priorities. And, you can parse between them. But Sarah Huckabee Sanders said the right things last night, and it was great. I'd love to hear it.
What do you think, Hannah? You said that did you watch the full response?
From Sarah Huckabee Sanders?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I really liked it. Ryan, I agree with you. I've heard of her before. I know what she's done a little bit, but last night it kind of opened my eyes to see how much more she could be. I was really impressed.
Does it matter to you, Hannah? There's no wrong answer for this. So don't because people are going to, I know how people are going to hear, and I'm prefacing before you even answer. But does it matter to you to see a young female saying the things that she said last night?
Does it matter to me? I think it's important, yes.
It matters to me. I mean, the Republican Party is made out to be the party of old white men. We in here, other than Hannah, are millennials. We're still told that we need to get out of our parents' basement and get jobs. That's Gen Z. Put that on Gen Z. You, Hannah.
Hey!
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you like it? I can't wait to
not
just
fun, is it?
slam on how much your generation sucks for the next 10 years.
Haha, Hannah.
No, it's ridiculous. I mean, the whole like generational divide and people who are looking in every nook and cranny to find some sort of demographical division for people. And it's all so that you can appropriate one of them. You could pick them off one by one and message things out into the world that'll sound good to the young people or to the people of a specific color or gender or whatever it might be. People, I remember people talking about the importance of seeing, for young black kids to see a black man be the president of the United States. It is irresponsible to discount the fact that that is an important thing to people, to be able to see that. To be able to see a black woman be the vice president. What it proves is that this country will elect black people to be the top leaders of the free world. You can't teach We covered the Proud Family story with Brian Kilmeade yesterday. A really interesting interview. You should go check that out on the Andy Frey Show podcast. You can't preach both what the 1619 Project wants to evoke out of people, the anger that it evokes out of people, and celebrate the amazing accomplishment that a very, very well-loved black man achieved when he became the president of the United States. Now, I have nothing negative to say about him and his ascent to that level of office when it comes to skin color. If I voted against him, it had nothing to do with his skin color. It has to do with his policy. It's not a content of his character thing, because I wouldn't disparage his character in that instance. But I disagree with what he thinks in his head. It's not the color of his skin. And there are enough people in this country that agreed with what the thoughts were in his head, and the fact that his skin color was not the skin color of every other president that has ever been out there was not enough to stop him from being the president of the United States in a country that was, massively developed on the backs of slaves. That's progress. That's to be celebrated. But the celebration of that, you have to acknowledge progress if you're going to celebrate it. And if your political power rests in victimhood, it's hard to reconcile those two things. It's very important to be able to acknowledge where this country has been and acknowledge where this country is today and see the opportunities to celebrate it, because that feels good when you celebrate good things, and that makes us want to do more good things. If there are people out there always sowing hate and anger and frustration and division, those people are doing that for them. It has nothing to do with the people who they're making angry. They're profiting off of that in power and money. I just think about it. It's too divisive for me to say that it's inappropriate for a young person or somebody new to politics to see somebody who maybe looks like them or resembles them, and to be able to say, no, I appreciate the fact that there is a millennial female governor of Arkansas saying exactly what I experience in life. That's not the only thing that matters, but there's nothing wrong with saying that it does matter. When you say, I'm going to be I need to pick a vice president of the United States and it will be a black woman, then you have made the gender and the race qualifying factors, which means you've disqualified everyone else. That doesn't make somebody feel valued. And it doesn't make other people feel that compulsion to value those people for what they bring to the table. Because, for me, my gender and my skin color have nothing to do with anything I've ever done. They just are. So I just want to say, as a female who's basically the same age as Sarah Huckabee Sanders, it was very cool for me to see her be given that task. And Hannah, I'm glad you got to see it too.
Yes. All right. Today's YouTube poll is asking, what grade do you give the president's speech? An A, a B, or a C, an F, or did you not watch? With over 275 votes, wow. 36% of the people said they gave Biden's speech an F. 34% of the people said that they didn't watch the State of the Union, which I think is fascinating. 22% of the people said they would give him a B or a C, and 8% voted that they would give Biden's State of the Union address an A.
I think DJ made like 13 counts. Woo! What did she say to you when she called?
She told me, you're not going to put me on air. I'm a Democrat. And I said, oh, no. You're going on air.
And we did. If you want to hear that interview, you can check it it's like about 12:30 is when DJ gave us a call. We had to get rid of her because she used naughty language, and the FCC says I can't air that. But go check out the podcast on the Odyssey app and rewind about 12:30 and you can hear it. The Mark Reardon Show coming up next.
I like the chip I got in my
eggs. $42. Ma'am, you okay?
Need bucks? With Jackson Hewitt, don't wait